Yeah, buddies, it's the Bennington Show. I'm Ron Bennington. There's Gail Bennington. And I am Ron Bennington. Quite the program lined up for you today. Tom Rhodes is stopping by a little later on this afternoon. And I believe Hannibal Buress is going to drop in today.
Yes, he is. Hannibal will be here.
Hannibal Buress. He gets the critical love and the public love. Very, very small amount of people get both.
He's
like Amy Schumer has lost the critical love, still has the public love, as well as some backlash. But it's very, very rare to get both.
And he's also very well loved for his Adult Swim show, or the Eric Andre show. He gets a lot of love for that.
That would be the public love,
That's
wouldn't
the
it?
public love, yes.
Yeah. So you're going to subcategory on me. I love it. Oh, he also gets love for his stand-up career.
Yes, he does.
You're nervous about just me and you being here today.
No,
you have a look of shock in your eyes. Gail's train is a little late. Injury in the train before her, which means somebody couldn't wake up a homeless person. They always say it's an injury, but it's the same scary thing. Homeless person, they can't get them to wake up. It's a harsh life, this world of ours. It's a harsh world.
I was thinking about the homeless guys on the train. It's never dark. I don't know how they ever get to sleep. It's really kind of weird.
It's never dark, you mean on the train?
Like it's never dark. Like the train lights never go out.
Well, people that fall asleep in that are exhausted. You know, you've never fallen asleep on the beach or
I've passed out in the light.
Well, I don't know whether homeless people have a tendency not to keep like a health regime as it is. Hey, yesterday I had a great time on the Anthony Cumia show on Compound Media. Ran into our old friend Eastside Dave afterwards, and that was a lot of fun. Then went out last night and did that charity show, and Mike Vecchione stopped by with the guy from the Tonight Show and ran his set that he was doing tonight, and it went really, really well. So look forward to that tonight. Mike Vecchione will be on the Tonight Show. And
was he wearing a suit last night?
No, this isn't so much about how you look. It's about his material. He was going to go out and do it at 4 or 5 clubs. So no, he wasn't pretending or LARPing that he was on the Tonight Show. He was getting his timing down until it seemed absolutely perfect. And you could see, Vecchione, he's obsessive and he's extremely dedicated. So, like if he was getting an applause break, I saw him step back away, which people do on TV, but they don't do in real life. Like if you get applause on stage, you don't take a step back away from the microphone stand. It's just those like little things that like he was like, I'm getting this ready for television. We're going to make an announcement in a couple of minutes about our next exciting Unmasked. That is going to be, is it next Thursday?
Next Thursday at 12 p.m.
Next Thursday, straight up noon. Want to do it right now?
Yeah, let's do it right now.
I got to make sure that we're ready and we put the stuff up. Yeah, we're not ready.
Let's then wait then.
You're in a little nerve-wracking thing because Gail isn't here. You have a very strange look in your eyes, like you're just meeting me for the first time.
Do I?
Yes.
It's odd since we've known each other for 10 years now. I'm being weird, aren't I?
Are you?
Maybe.
Okay. All right, so getting ready to announce the next Unmasked. I think this is going to be an exciting one because this gentleman, long time, anybody who listens to Sirius XM is a longtime fan of him. And he's got a brand new TV show coming out, I believe, next week or the week after that, and was voted Comedian of the Year by fans of this show. Jim Jefferies. Jim Jefferies, the next Unmasked. That's oh, some clap from the other room. So that's next Thursday, June 1st already at the SiriusXM studios. Go to the interrobang.com for a chance at free tickets. And then the Jim Jefferies show premieres June 6th on Comedy Central. And I believe that's going to be a commentary show. And it should be a damn good one.
I can't wait. We haven't seen Jim Jefferies, I think, since he did his last Unmasked. So this is going to be fantastic.
What do you mean we haven't seen him?
I don't think he's come on since then.
How long ago was that now? Like 2 years?
I think 3 years. 3 years ago now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Congratulations for him getting this new show on Comedy Central. But his stand-up specials are just fucking killer. Just ridiculous. So that's Jim Jefferies. Go to the interrobang.com. It's noon next Thursday, right here at the SiriusXM studios. And we are planning stuff for the Montreal Comedy Festival. And we're going to do probably a Comedy 101 there. We're looking into our guy Justin that we made friends with last year, who I'm now thinking, and I know HR tells me I shouldn't get involved with this, but I think Justin and Jen are going to fall in love, probably marry, wait a reasonable amount of time so they can get some money together and start having babies.
Wow, that's responsible of them.
That's the way I see them both, as responsible people. But he's looking into the scene, the Montreal scene, to make sure that we have open mic comics. I thought the Austin comics were far too good to be doing Comedy 101. I want them to be Queens bad. I want them to be Astoria bad.
That's the bar we're trying to hit.
That's the bar we're trying to hit.
Or stay under.
That's the bar we're trying to stay under.
Well, it's very exciting to have
This
Justin.
is an odd thing. You're not talking like yourself. You're talking like, seriously, you're talking like somebody who's just co-hosting with Kelly for no reason. You're trying to be sweet and agreeable, but I keep going like, where's Chris Stanley at? You're like, yes, that would be delightful. We haven't seen him in quite some time.
I was very excited for Jim Jefferies Unmasked.
Yes, we've already discussed that. But the Montreal trip would be it's going to be a blast. And then I guess we'll announce an Unmasked up there, and we're shooting for a big one. But we love Montreal. I'm trying to keep up. I know that the Pope met with Donald Trump, and the Pope fucked with him a little bit about his weight.
Did he?
Which I've never even heard happen in like a state meeting at all. He said to Melania, oh, he's eating whatever this special kind of fucking cake is that they have over there for dessert. But basically saying he's gaining weight. I think we've had fatter fucking statesmen than Trump, and no one brings up, like, oh, has this guy been hitting it pretty hard?
See, that's why I should have kept Christie with him. Would have deflected some of that.
You should have kept Christie with him, because somebody who had his back and wasn't a fucking complete lunatic. I can't even keep up with these Russian things right now.
It's nonstop. It's like the Russians are releasing stuff that he said, and then we're refuting it. It's really weird.
Who's we?
Like this, all right. So there were leaks that Trump said he released information about an Israeli information about ISIS. And then the Russians were like, no, he never did that. And then was like, no, he did. Like the America's saying that we actually did release information that we shouldn't have.
You said just the opposite. You said they said that he released, and then we refuted it. And I'm just trying to say, who's we? I don't even know anymore, because we are completely fucking split on a lot of this stuff. Hayden, what's up?
Hey,
Hayden.
Ronnie B, how's it going?
Hayden up in Fargo. What do you say?
So I just watched that Jim Jarmusch Iggy Pop documentary.
Yes.
And I've been a fan of Iggy Pop since I was probably like 8 years old when I first heard the Stooges. But my question to you is a Bennington barometer.
Yeah, I don't normally do that without Gail here, but just give me a quick one.
I'm sorry. Iggy Pop in the Stooges or Iggy Pop with David Bowie in the Berlin era?
Wow.
They're very, very different eras. I mean, and interesting on back, but I don't know. Iggy is a solo act or Iggy and the Stooges? I'm going to say, he keeps progressing. Give me Iggy in the Berlin era.
I had Iggy and the Stooges. I can't get one of these things right.
You're faking it. We all know.
I'm not faking it.
We all know that you're faking it, Chris.
I'm not faking it.
You're not even using a real voice today.
I'm not faking it, Rod.
You never say stuff like that to me. Why do you feel like you're co-hosting with Kelly Ripa?
I don't feel like that.
But we're going to have to make a choice soon. And I think we're going to bring Seacrest out into here.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Why wouldn't we?
You
He's
trust
got everything.
that guy?
Yeah. It isn't a matter of trust. We got to get them ratings up, man. Up on the, on iTunes, we put the Dice Unmasked. I'm not sure if it's the first one or the second one we did with him. That's on iTunes.
It's the first one.
Thank you very much. So this is the one where he got a little choked up over Joan Rivers.
Yeah.
And up on the iBank today, our buddy Giannis Pappas is on the up next, and that's where you take the Phil does the photography and just gets shots of him, but you just see the massive fucking skis that Giannis Pappas wears. Look at those.
Those are gigantic.
I don't know how he walks on them. It's like having another leg, the same size of his leg. That's his foot. I don't know where this baseball stadium is. I know he lives way out there in Bay Ridge.
Yeah. I don't even know there's a park out there.
Why wouldn't you think Bay Ridge would have parks?
I just never heard of like a Bay Ridge park, like a big Bay Ridge park.
Well, that didn't look like it was the size of Central Park, but it looked like a baseball field. I think the people of Bay Ridge would like to enjoy America's oldest and happiest sport, baseball. Chris, you're acting odd today. Why don't you just tell me something that's on your mind?
All right, so Reddit, there was a post put to the front page of Reddit. Someone took a video of a woman panhandling, and I think it was in Richmond, Virginia. So they're videotaping her, and they see her go to her car, and then they start harassing her on video. Like, what are you doing? We see you have a car. We're going to get you arrested. And then a few hours, that video goes.
Why can't a panhandler have a car?
I have no idea. So then they post this video of them harassing her, and then a few hours later, the next video or the next picture is a picture of her just getting arrested. So these dudes just harass a chick who's panhandling and has a car.
Well, that's probably against the law to panhandle. That's what they could probably get her for. But it's not because she has a car and panhandles.
But the only reason they went after her is because I think if she was a homeless person, they would have just let it go. But they wanted like exact justice on her to get her arrested for taking the people's change out of their fucking cars. It's ridiculous.
She was taking their chains out of their car?
Like change. Like, I don't know how much money she's getting out of this panhandling. It can't be more than a couple bucks.
But you said she took it out of their cars. That would be stealing.
Well, no, that's what I'm assuming they'd give her. Someone in their car would just give someone the change if they're panhandling.
You never know what people are. So she walks up to cars.
Yeah. She's like at an intersection and cars are coming up and she has a sign saying I'm homeless. And then she goes up to their window and people are giving her
See,
change.
that's the illegal thing that you're not allowed to stand out in the fucking street and bother people. But there's nothing that says that a homeless person panhandling is better than a person with a home panhandling. I mean, there are people that do so many gimmicks like, oh, I lost my money. Can I just get enough money to get a train back to New Jersey? I was mugged, blah, blah, blah. I've seen a million of those things. This one guy walks around with this like fucking cord and acts like his car is broke down. And he was doing it in my neighborhood. And I'm like, there's no fucking tourist around here. Nobody's buying this bullshit. And he goes, no, seriously. I go, this fucking bit is fucking at least 50 years old that you're doing. It's been around forever. You can't just walk around and act like you came up with it today and not get fucking called on it.
It's very strange. 'Cause, like the New York Post will shame people too. Like I think a cop remember when the cop gave a homeless guy boots, and then they followed the guy home and saw that he had a home. He wasn't homeless. And there was outrage over this guy having a home. It's very fucking weird that people seem like they think they're getting ripped off by these people there, or maybe just sick.
There she is. What's up?
Oh my god! I think there was a jumper situation.
Oh
shit!
Yes,
because Chris told me injured person, and I'm always like, that's a homeless dude that doesn't wake up.
Yeah, but they rerouted all of the A line, C line, like everything on the 8th Avenue went on our line.
Wow. By the way, I never liked that. It feels like it's the same as like when you're circling on an airplane.
Yeah.
You're like, for some reason, if you're circling an airport, you're like, there's something they're not telling us. And they're like, no, there's just a buildup. I go, no, something bad happened.
And then like, it just kept like, if it was just like a sick person they had to pull off the train, it would have been like 5 minutes.
Right.
But that was insane. I was like, listening to my music, just trying to breathe.
Trying to chill it all out. Guess who else had a lot of anxiety with you not being here?
Who?
Chris went into weird co-host mode.
Oh, no.
Where he was talking to me like he was a woman.
He's like...
And now he just told me a Reddit story that no way should have been the first story of the day. Some fucking buddy in Richmond, Virginia shouldn't have been panhandling. And he goes into this detail of shit that maybe if I lived in Richmond would be an unbelievable
this
interest.
Is a local Richmond show.
Yeah. It kind of was a local Richmond show that we were doing for a while.
But you guys are buddies. You guys been doing this for years.
He felt the pressure of it. You ever see when his eyes and then he gets into like talk show agreeable guy?
Yes. Well, everything's good, guys.
Yeah, you're kind of weirded out though, huh?
I am a little bit. I don't like being stuck for that long.
No, no one does. No one says, "Oh God, I'm so glad I'm stuck here."
I felt like I was in like the upside down. Like it was like I was at one of those spots too where, you know, when the tunnel gets deeper, like you know, so there's different layers. So I can see a train that's running fine, but it's like way above me, and I can see like the wheels of it going above me, and I'm just like, I do this every day, but why is it so creepy to me right now? I wish I was
up there pulling out of this place.
I was like ready to just join the mole people. I was like, this is my new life now.
There's like a point where no time at all you become almost tribal. You know what I mean? It gets very, very weird. And it's like one of those things that happens like if you're in another country and you can't find your passport.
Right.
You know, it's somewhere in your room and you just have a moment of, I'll never get back to the States. You know what I mean? Like that feeling, like sometimes you're pulled over and it just feels like, I can't believe this is fucking happening to me. I was just on vacation and now I'm in the 8th fucking level of hell.
I had a situation where I thought I had lost my passport, but I didn't.
Yes,
and I went out
that way.
And I went out to the last place that I was, and it wasn't there. And this is like obvious. I didn't have my cell phone. Wasn't really like that kind of situation. And I'm on my way back to my hotel room, or it was really like an apartment. And I'm like, well, this is over. I'm stuck here forever. I'm stuck in a foreign land. And then the elevator breaks down.
Oh, God.
And I'm stuck in there forever. And then literally my roommate had to be yelling to me, and I found your passport, so don't panic.
You could be stuck there and not be a foreign citizen who's not loved.
At least know that.
Are we having phone trouble today? Is that what's going on?
No, they're fine.
But that certainly isn't behaving fine from what I can see in the other room. But have you ever done this, like something comes up and you make a bigger deal out of it than it is because you're either in another country or you're traveling? Mm-hmm. So like you can't find your hotel key and then like you go up to the desk and just start to bark it out at them and they're like, easy. But you have all the keys. And you're just like, I had my key with me. Obviously I did something to do. They're like, easy. And you just find out that you're completely overreacting to everything.
Stop me if I've told this story before, but there was a situation once. I was on a trip and there was another family who was staying there. And for whatever reason, this dad was like real keyed up, like vacation stress. Like everything's supposed to be going well, whatever. It was like kind of like a dude ranch situation. So at this place, you could pour your own drinks, and then you just like write down at the bar, like, I poured a beer, I did this, like whatever. So you're making note of like the drinks that you take. The kid says, okay, I'm going to have a Coke. The dad is like, well, you need to split it with your sister. So the kid goes to pour the drink, and I guess he gave the sister like less than he did.
Yes.
And then he just started like freaking out. And then he's like, you think this is fair? You think this is a way to treat your sister?
Oh my God.
And we're like, what the hell? And then he just started yelling, from now on this trip, I pour all the drinks. I'm the one who pours the drinks on this whole trip. And the kids are looking at him like, well, okay, like if that's what you want to do. But I was just like, hey, keyed up dad, just calm down.
Well, it's good to have you in here. Hey, who's in there? Vito?
Yeah.
Vito, what the fuck is with you today?
I just found out what happened. People have been calling saying an emergency alert went out, but engineering accidentally fired something from their end.
Well, why don't you put those fucking calls up so that I would have that fucking discussion with them? I don't know how long you have to fucking work here to learn how to use the phones. And you're supposed to be training fucking interns, and I've never seen it. Look at this, little Steven just stops by the wave. Oh, that's bigger than life.
That was crazy.
That's bigger than life. He's like a fucking lunatic, this kid. I'm telling you, you talk about the upside down world. I had it with Chris, and now I'm having it with Vito today. I think I'm going to work everybody right straight through the Memorial Day weekend. Right straight through.
Until we get this team.
You know what? I'm going to take a break so I don't do this on the air. Right back, Bennington. Hey, it's the Bennington Show. Jim Jefferies next Thursday. Unmask over to the iBang for that. Hey, Steve, New Hampshire. What's up, buddy?
Hey, well, I kind of feel partially responsible for you getting upset now, Ron.
Oh, God, I'm not upset. I just tried to figure out what was going on in the other room. My producers don't talk to each other. I understand that it was an emergency alert. It doesn't seem like that big of a deal to me, but it wasn't that I was upset. It was that my guys do not talk to each other before, during, or after the show. In the meantime, we got a big Unmasked coming up with Jim Jefferies next Thursday, and that's where our focus could be. I'll tell you a story that blows up every time it comes up, is the Cash Me Outside girl and her writer, which you only have a writer for one reason, a writer like this. It's so that your PR department can slip it out there and get everybody talking about you for free publicity. But when it comes to what people will click on Google News, it's always the Cash Me Outside girl.
Yeah, she's had more staying power than I think anyone could predict. Now, I know it's only been a couple weeks, but the way the internet has been going.
No, it's at least 6 months.
Has it been?
At least, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I remember hearing about her in the winter because I don't know, these comics were talking and someone said she was only 13.
Oh, right.
And I'm
That's
like,
right.
wait, I've been hearing about this girl. How could she only be 13?
But for whatever strange reason, she's maintained like newsworthy status.
It's not that she's done anything new. I honestly think it's because white trash is the new interesting thing to people. It's down to the point now where people are getting in trouble for using the word white trash, which we've heard our whole life. And then the whole thing behind even the term white trash is you're white, you should be doing better. It's almost
right. It's like a backhanded racist statement.
But normally said by white people.
Yes.
Not by black people.
Right. But then like the implication is like to point out the trash is not as you would expect.
Yes. Yes, it's almost anti other minorities. Like, we see why they're trash.
Right.
But you, with your lily white skin, You should be anything but trash.
So she had a crazy, because now she's doing club gigs. That's the whole thing, is like somehow
she goes to club gigs. She yells at people, who you calling white trash? You better cash me outside. And was it Dr. Phil that got her?
Yeah, it was.
He's done nothing for the American culture. If anyone seriously has butt fucked America, it's Dr. Phil.
And when he had her back a second time after her cash me outside thing blew up, she completely cucked him. She said something like, "Yeah, I made you famous. Like, you weren't relevant until I came around."
She's young. She doesn't have a lot to go on. She didn't realize that he was around for quite a few years.
So who is this writer going to? Like, what? This is just the clubs?
Yeah. But Cash Me Outside, I hope she gets her own show. I was watching something today that I can't believe people fall for the gimmick. And that's this little gay kid who goes to celebrities' houses and pretends he's talking to dead relatives.
No, I did not know.
Oh, yeah, this has been good. This has been big for over a year.
So this is, like, he's a medium?
I guess no, he's a carny. Right. I don't know what he's calling himself, but he'll always ask for their possessions. Give me the possessions of dead people.
Right. And that's how he gets his reads.
And he acts like he doesn't know that we know that he has a producer who's able to say, oh, they've got your grandfather's razor. They got a picture from the grandmother.
Right.
And then he'll say this stuff and they'll immediately start crying. They're so ready. People, this is why it's easy to do that gig. People are so ready to believe and be a part of.
Well, that's why that gimmick, and then also the the evangelist healing preachers, they put the hands on them, they start shaking. Well, those are people who are like so needing a miracle. They're so ready. Yeah. It's like makes it like exploiting them so easy, unfortunately.
I have no problem with exploiting any of those people on any of those shows. I hope all their money is taken from them.
But the Long Island medium, I've seen that show before, and she'll go in and it'll be like she just walked into a bakery and then the girl behind the counter, and then she's like, "Oh, did you have a grandmother who did a thing?" But the thing is, like, everybody's lit and in full makeup. Like, I know that producers came in before they set up these shots. Like, why would we believe she just
people sign?
Yes, of course. So, like, why would you just believe she walked in and then created a miracle instead of this person had a conversation with a producer?
Well, the other thing
that
bothers me, right? Because she hears voices from the other side,
right?
And then she'll say, "Is there somebody in your family with a G or an R?" And you're like, well, first of all, no one ever says their name. Like, my name begins with R. R. Is it an R? Yes. This is like fucking playing hangman when you know what consonants, that
right.
S and T are a good way to go.
Right. And then they'll be like, they're showing me the color red and also the color blue or yellow. Yellow, that was her favorite color. And she was wearing a red dress the night she died. Like, they're like, oh.
They're trying to fill in the blanks.
Yes.
Is there a George?
There is one, yeah.
With a red, white, and blue?
Oh my God, George Washington?
I guess that's it. I got to think it's George Washington. He's saying he's the father of either it's a county or I can't make it out.
Country.
Yes, father of the country.
He was my first president, so this is so weird.
Greg in Chicago.
Hey, Ron. Hi, Gail.
Hi.
Hi. I just turned on the radio, just came out of class, and
great.
I was sad to hear that you ruined the derogatory term white trash for me, as I am a minority, and I always thought that was the atom bomb toward white people. But you pointed out I'm almost an insult back to myself.
It is.
Yes.
It is. It's like saying it's understandable why minorities would live, but you, with your white penis, the world should be yours.
This is so strange.
This is actually a lot of truth to that.
It's highly unusual. This trash is white.
Yeah. It's like saying you were born on third and then for some reason started running back to second. That's what white trash is all about.
Thanks, Ron.
All right. Peace. And I think a better term for that would be white garbage. I don't think we need to use the word. You're just white garbage.
You're garbage. You're a white garbage person. There really is no insult that really can get the white people. This is like nothing is that.
Cracker used to make me.
Really?
Well, white cracker in particular, because I thought it was saltine. And I would run home and I'd say to my mom, they're calling me white cracker again. And my mom would say, you are not anything to put cheddar cheese on. You're a poison.
What about honky? Are you comfortable with that?
Well, because of the way I honk when I talk, that got to me. Peckerwood never made me feel good. People always wonder about that, but it's hard to insult people at the top rung. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like when we make fun of preppies. They're like, yeah, I guess we are preppies.
That is true. I am well dressed. And I have the money.
No one gets offended if they're called a dude bro.
No, I think they kind of wear it with a badge of courage. Like I don't think they.
Well, you look at Vito, and he's a wannabe dude bro.
Yeah, I mean,
he just doesn't have the abs for it.
And everybody, and then everyone also says like, like dude bros say bro, and they like indulge that they do it. They're like, I'm like the biggest bro in bro town. You know what I mean, bros? And you're like, oh, so you like that term?
Yes,
you're happy to be that.
I'm sure your buddy at the Chive is always like, now what can we do to make the bros happy?
Right?
How do we bro this thing out? Good article, but bro it out a little bit, make it extreme where you can.
Which is kind of funny because, like, he's kind of one of those dudes, like, he was like hipster bro. Like, he seemed to run with those kids, but then, like, there was something guyish about him. Those exist.
Hipster bros.
Yeah, or like, like someone will be in a subgroup. Like, how, like, there's always, like, king of the nerds. Like, there's always Nerd King. And
he's
Nerd
like
King usually is, like, sexist, treats his friends like shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he still has a bro's personality. He just doesn't have, like, the status or the clothes.
Hey, Sean, what's up?
Hey, Ronnie B.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, the Chevy Chase Richard Pryor skit from SNL, do you think it would air today?
I'm not even sure it aired then. I mean, it was on once. I don't even know if they reran it.
Which one is this?
This is the one where he was doing word association. He acted like he had it was a job thing. All right, Hannibal's here. Remind me and I'll explain it to you later. Cool. Hannibal is in Baywatch, comes out theaters everywhere tomorrow, May 25th. Let's bring in Hannibal Buress. Hannibal Buress in studio with us. He's in a major motion picture, Baywatch. Yeah. That comes out everywhere tomorrow, May 25th. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you, man?
Good. Doing a big movie like this, that always is a little bit of fun, right?
It is. It's just, waiting on it. Because we did it around maybe this time last year.
Yeah.
And so, when you do stand-up, you get used to the immediacy of stand-up. Sure. I do my joke, people laugh or they don't, and then I decide what I do from there. With a movie, you film it, and it takes, the quickest movie turnaround I think I've been a part of was Neighbors 2, and that filmed in like September, and they put it out in maybe March of the next year, 6 months or so. That's the fastest.
Yeah.
And so anytime when I do a movie and I know that the turnaround is a year, I'm like, this was fun. I appreciate the opportunity, but I also could die between now and then.
But isn't the other funny thing happen? Because as long as you've been doing stand-up, when you do something like this that's going to go up big, there will be new people who go, hey, who's that guy? Let's go see him next time he comes to town. Like, that's a never-ending thing for stand-up.
I mean, people don't. It always have people even from Broad City that is show on Comedy Central that I'm on that have no idea that I do stand up. I remember I was standing outside of Largo in LA, and I think I just finished a show, or I was going to do a show the next day, and this girl just came, oh, I love you so much, I love you on Broad City, what are you doing? And I'm like, I was doing a show. She was like, what type of show? what type of show? Like, do stand up, but you can't expect everybody to. No. I got actors that I like that might be on just a hit show and that's their breakout, but they've had an incredible body of work where they've killed it for years, and I'm familiar with it. So I don't really take offense to it. It's just part of the game.
Yeah, plus, it is. You've got to have a lot of different types of fans too, because between Eric Andre fans, Broad City fans, like those couldn't
those are always crossovers,
right? It's all types of people. It's some crossover, but it's people from all. I've done Secret Life of Pets. Yeah, so that's a different. So you have people that have kids. They're like, oh, my daughter loves the little wiener dog, and so that's a whole different situation. So I just try to stay working and have fun with it.
Well, it's always funny to me, and I think stand up is different than anything else, because you take like Bill Burr, right? He could sell out Madison Square Garden, but it doesn't mean that your mom is going to know who he is. You know what I mean? Where Amy Schumer had that kind of crossover mainstream thing.
Sure.
And then that even becomes surprising when someone says, I like comedy like Amy Schumer. And you're like, really? You know who Amy is?
Yeah.
But it's from the movie or, her show.
It's a different thing where, I've known Amy for years, and I just happened to be at home in my parents' house in Chicago, and just flipping through, and then it was like, I don't know if it was EW or if it was Access. It was something where, oh, where's Amy's boyfriend?
Yeah.
Oh, look at her Instagram. Oh, he's been missing. I'm like, what? It was just it was just real. It was different from seeing a red carpet thing, but to see a friend like covered that way, it was just it was really gross, and that's some different, that's some way different shit.
Yeah, and no one knows how you break in or whether that's a good idea, bad idea. There's a certain kind of fame that you don't want.
Yeah.
I think the real best kind of fame is like if people recognize your name but not you. So you go to a restaurant, then when you hand in your card, they'll go like this: Stephen King, I've read your books. But all that time they don't.
Writers have it the best.
Yeah, they have it the best.
Yeah.
But what you don't want is where people are making a big deal because you're in town.
Yeah.
Or like you're really good at something that has a fan base, and those people are like think you're a genius, but not every. So then someone can go, "Don't you know who this is?"
Yeah, right.
And then you're like, "Yes, that's right."
It was funny. I was at this festival in Durham, North Carolina, this weekend called Moog Fest. It's a music fest and technology fest, and so they had me introduce the rapper Talib Kweli. And so I just kind of walked on stage cold with no intro, and so I said, "Hey, what's going on, Durham?" And people kind of lightly clapped. I said, "Hey, what's up? I'm Hannibal Buress," and then people were like, I was like, that is weird.
That is strange.
I was talking to a buddy about it's like the different levels of it. I said there's Urban Outfitters famous.
Yeah.
And there's Cracker Barrel famous.
Right. Yeah.
I'm Urban Outfitters famous.
Yeah.
I've been to many Cracker Barrels around the country. I've never been approached in one, and I like that. I like that I can chill in a Cracker Barrel no matter what.
But the thing is, that's something that you can't control.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't know when you stepped into, hey, this was fun, to this is really kind of scary and weird.
Yeah.
Now,
people do some weird. People get weird, man. The weirdest thing, I don't even know if people were doing it mean spirited. Where somebody, this is 2 years ago, I was in New Orleans, and I look at my phone, and I've been getting some calls from an unknown number. I ignore them, and then I get a call from my mom, and then I pick it up, and it's whoever was trying to prank call me. They somehow found my shit and made it look like they were calling from my mom's phone.
Wow.
And called me.
That's really fucking spooky.
Yeah.
That one's spooky.
That one was weird.
Yeah. Because obviously your mom never asked to be part of any of this game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's people just look up shit, and people can get, for the most part, those are outliers. I think that's the 0.1 or 0.01% of crazies, and for the most part, people are just chill and appreciative.
Well, then that's when you learn what like pretty girls go through on a constant basis. When people bring up stalkers, you don't realize some non-famous people have stalkers sitting outside their house. A friend of mine, back when Eddie Murphy was at his height, like in the 80s when he was the biggest star, kind of hooked up and was writing something with Murphy. And they went to the Bahamas, and he was like in a private plane. And my friend was thinking, man, this is great. But when they got there, it was on every news station that Eddie Murphy is here, and they're just showing his every move. Like even going to a different country, where that becomes now the story. And he's like, I couldn't do this.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, that was also this is in the early '80s or something.
Yeah,
that's back when it was only like 8 famous black people.
Right. Yeah. And what would happen is like there would become a famous black people, and one would have to step down. So it's like Pryor pushed Cosby off, and then Murphy pushed Pryor off some. It's like we didn't have time for 2 great black comedians at the same time, you know? And that went on for generations.
Well, we already have one, so...
And it would also happen, like, if you were a dancer or something, like Ben Vereen would get pushed off by Gregory Hines. You know what I mean? Sorry, Ben, there's no more work for you. It's all going to Gregory Hines now. Well, you're doing this with a crazy famous guy, Baywatch, who looks like he handles it as well as you could, and that's The Rock. The Rock looks totally comfortable all the time.
He seems chill and well-adjusted. He's a funny dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everybody that I've talked to seems like they had good experience talking with him.
Never hear a bad thing about The Rock. He's not a comedian, but when he does Saturday Night Live, they're always peak things.
Yeah.
Because there's something about his timing that just destroys on that show.
Well, he would kill as a wrestler. He was just, those promos he would cut as The Rock, and he was just really good. Yeah.
Well, Vito is a big wrestling fan, but I remember when The Rock came in at first, it didn't get over. It took a couple of bumps before he got over the top.
Figured that character out.
And they tried to bring him in as a face, and then it wasn't working. They didn't like it. And then when he heel turned, what exactly happened, Vito?
So he joined the Nation of Domination, started calling himself The Rock,
right?
Because fans were chanting "Die Rocky Die" and they hated him as that face.
It's Rocky Maivia at first.
Is that because his dad and his uncle were famous?
Yeah.
They hate that.
He was the first third-generation wrestler, and they were really pushing that big. And then he came out in this ridiculous, colorful Samoan outfit,
right?
And everybody hated him. Joined the Nation of Domination, called himself The Rock, and
then when he turned back to face, they were crazy about him.
Yeah, then it was his spot from there on. And then when Stone Cold got injured for a year, that's when The Rock really took off.
Yeah,
and that was a time no one thought anybody could get bigger than Stone Cold.
Yeah, the glass would break an entire arena.
Oh my God, he's coming!
Look at The Rock. That's what he
that was so great. I kind of liked that Rock. The hair, everything.
He was all happy with everybody at first, like, hey.
Well, that was kind of like the end of that era of costumed wrestlers who were kind of started to drop out of favor.
I prefer costume. I prefer a wrestler that brings an animal to the ring.
Right.
That was my favorite.
You like a good Repo Man type storyline.
Yes. Yeah.
Like a wrestler with a day job.
Right.
Were the Bushwhackers, were they garbage men?
No, the Bushwhackers were sheep herders.
Oh, okay.
Right, yeah.
No, yeah, okay. Who was the garbage man?
Who threw a garbage can in?
Duke the dumpster.
Yeah, that's
the
it.
dumpster. Okay.
And he always brought a big metal trash can to the ring.
He needed to bring that in.
Remember? Because I am a trash man.
Isn't that funny, though? It is kind of almost similar to stand-up. You know what I mean? Like when a lot of guys try to break in, it takes them a while before they find whatever that persona is that works.
Yeah, it's, I never had a catchphrase. I would like a catchphrase now, though. I would like a catchphrase, but it just seems... It doesn't seem it's tough to really ham it in like that, just to force it in. But I would like a catchphrase.
I think your catchphrase should be "Know what I'm saying."
Know what I'm saying? Yeah. Actually, back before I knew, I was. It was early on in stand up, and I performed for a couple easy crowds. It was this crowd in Peoria at Jukebox, and there's some crowds that you have that are just excited. and make you feel like you're a way better comedian than you are. And so I had a couple jokes where I would do the joke and it was okay, and then I would go, yeah, and then the crowd would go crazy. And I was like, I'm fucking killing it. I'm only 2 years in. This fucking yeah thing is gonna take off. Yeah.
All of a sudden, there's Yale t-shirt. Keychains are going around. That's fun. But there's something in your delivery that is so unique to you that I would think that other people would try to correct it early on. You know what I mean? Because you never come in with that high energy. You're not doing that kind of sales pitch.
Early on, I was super kind of dry and deadpan, and as I started playing bigger venues, I've had to, well, I didn't have to, but it just naturally, where I just, some bits need energy or some bits have that. So I've learned over time, to have it, be peaks and valleys. But I do remember, nobody ever tried to change. You know what? Actually, I do remember a story when I just bombed at this spot on the south side of Chicago. There was another comic in the bathroom, and he says, yeah, man, that was, you got some good jokes, but you gotta yell at these motherfuckers. You gotta yell at these motherfuckers. But to his credit, I have been in rooms where sometimes you gotta yell at motherfuckers. You gotta say, hey, shut the fuck up, a comedy show is going on. As you go into spots, sometimes people just, start a show, or people don't know it's a comedy show. They're just there eating, and then you're like, hey, what are you, hey, listen to me. Accept this art form.
Yes, accept this. That is you can always tell at any comedy show that there's always a certain percentage of the room was brought there by friends. They have no idea why they're in a comedy club. And they're looking up and they're kind of horrified. They're horrified.
I've kind of had that experience before where I thought of inviting friends to comedy shows, because I like to go to comedy shows. But then I'm like, oh, then there'll be the people in the room who just like are uncomfortable with the setup. Because some people are just uncomfortable with the setup of like live performer looking at me,
making eye contact
and saying things to me. And some people find that really, really uncomfortable. And I get it. So I've stopped myself from being like, oh, this person's fun and they like jokes. I don't know if they're going to like live stand up. And I'm like, all right, I won't do it. But that is an awkward thing.
Some people just don't like it. And that's okay. And I think what sometimes it's easy to lose sight of as somebody that does shows all the time, where you think people go to a lot of shows. Sure, some people go to a lot of shows, but some people go to, even if they like stand up, they might go to 1 or 2 shows a year, and that's it. They might go if, Chris Rock is coming to town or Seinfeld's coming to town, and they go to that. So it's, it's still fairly I wouldn't say niche, but it's not something that everybody enjoys.
It's certainly never approached the size of like rock and roll or hip hop. It's never come to that thing where people like, oh, I'm willing to experiment. I do think that most people think if they like comedy, they like 4 to 5 people. Now, there are like comedy nerds who will go around and do it, but that's much smaller. And you can see how those people enjoy going to like Montreal Comedy Festival, because if you're a fan there, you're just seeing everybody walk through the lobby. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah, or even here in New York, you got people that go to the smaller shows, the Whiplash, or they'll go to Knitting Factory, and they understand if somebody's trying out material.
Right?
It's like, yeah, I get it. He's bombing. It's okay.
Yes, if you're willing to give in to that, it is really interesting it's almost like, can you imagine seeing someone attempt to write a song on stage? Not just like, here's a new song I wrote yesterday, but does this sound good to you? Does this sound good?
No, what about here?
Just some corny lyrics thrown in. Was that weird?
No, you brought, look, there's a little Steven right there. You brought up bombing on stage. Do you still have jokes that don't work? Are you still surprised that you thought of something at home and you're like, this is funny, and your audience hasn't?
No, it's some stuff where I realize it's super specific to me, or it might not be right for the format.
Yeah.
There's some ideas that are good ideas, but they might be better at me talking about them on my podcast. They might not work.
Right.
And it might work as something, as just a light thought and be able to discuss with somebody else. Because here's one thing I tried on stage, but then I brought it to my podcast and we were able to talk. I tried it on stage as a joke where I was asking if, you go to a Mexican restaurant that gives you it gives you some chips and salsa before you get your food. Sometimes you might only eat 2 chips. Hey, do they dump those chips, or do they just, or do they throw them away, or do they just put them in with the rest of the chips? Now, not the best stand-up bit, right. Sure, but it's just a good discussion starter, and so that's what I've learned over time. Might not be bad. It might be bad for stand-up, but it might be a sketch. It might be a line of dialogue that a character says in a script or something, or it might be a Instagram post or a meme or something like that, or a tweet. So it's just, figuring out what ideas work in what format.
So it can be used, just not necessarily.
It might not be a killer stand-up bit.
Yeah,
killer stand-up bits are far and few between. So that's just what I just try to figure out the right placement for stuff.
I think it's so interesting now that there's so many other places to put it, because like a comedian like Gary Shandling, if a bit didn't work back in the 80s, he was like, I guess that's it. It just doesn't work. He didn't have other spots to put it. By the way, I worked at a restaurant where I know they reused butter.
Yeah.
Butter?
They threw the butter back into a thing, whipped it back up, and put it back on the table.
So, like the butter that, like, say somebody cut half of their butter?
Yes, that butter went back in to a tub.
That's pre-Yelp, right?
Yeah. It was pre-Yelp, and it was us, like, feeling disgusted about it, and the manager going, dude, don't give me any shit about the butter.
Yeah.
And we're like, no, man, we don't want to reuse this butter.
How far into your time working there did you find that out?
Pretty early on. Yeah. And people would try to throw the butter under the trash where you couldn't see it. You had to do your best to deep down some butter. But he would have to go through the trash over that. What do you think on the chip thing? Do you think they're reusing the chips?
I bet it depends on the place. I bet there's plenty of places that do it, and I bet there's other places that they would go, that's disgusting. We would never do something like that.
Because here's the argument for it. Usually you're not really, if you just grab a couple chips,
you're not touching them all. Right.
You're not really getting into it with the other chips.
And you do it at your home. You know what I mean? Like if you had a party and all the chips didn't go, you'd still eat those chips the next day.
Right.
But what is it? Like, those people? Is it the act of strangers that makes it so horrific?
I don't know. But
we're very weird about our eating sensibilities.
Yeah.
As it is, what people are willing to do. And I always think it's funny, like, that in this country, we wouldn't expect to put anybody at our table with us. But at other places, if the two of you are, like, if you're over in Europe and two of you are at a table, a guy could just come up and sit in the other chair and just start eating.
All the communal eating.
Yeah. It's much more comfortable over there, or it's more expected.
It changes everything for me.
Like,
if suddenly a stranger shows up. Like, I don't even like that in the mall. I'll go up and face it like that little bar that faces the wall. I'd rather eat like that than have a social interaction with other human beings.
I've been out to lunch with someone once, and we walked into the place, and it was all communal tables, big benches, and he went, nope, we gotta go somewhere else. And I'm like, really? And he's like, no, I can't do it. I can't, like, if there's any interaction, I'm uncomfortable.
Well, I think is the fear and the feeling is that how a bad new social interaction feels is way worse than a good conversation, I think. Where it's not worth the risk.
Because you don't hold that with you. Like, a bad interaction can stay with you forever.
A bad one can go really bad. It can go really bad. The good one usually, maybe you get into a conversation about sports and they got good takes. And a bad one can get weird and they might say some shit that just stick with you forever.
But it's like really funny too that you even bring it up, that you will let a stranger say something to you that you disagree with more than you ever would a friend, or you know what I mean? Like you could be on an airplane and a guy could say to you, the greatest basketball player of all time, Scottie Pippen.
Yeah.
And you're just going to go, yeah, Scotty's good. But you'd be on your family in a heartbeat for that.
Oh, yeah, completely. Not only that, but like if there's any transportation involved, like I'm not going to give any emotion. Like I've had cab drivers say the most fucked up shit to me.
Yeah.
Cab drivers say some sexist stuff, make a pass, say a racist comment, and then you're like, very good, sir. I'll be getting out soon. So you're not going to have a fight with a cab driver.
Yeah.
You're just like, all bets are off. I'll just stay real quiet about this.
You know what? If somebody said Scottie Pippen was the best, I'm not letting them have it. I'll be like, there's some merits to Scottie Pippen. He is a great player and was an excellent defender and great on the break. And that dunk over Patrick Ewing was amazing, but he's not the best. And then I'll be like, you need to change seats.
It is very funny how we are always ready to rank all the athletes of all time. Like, no matter how, like LeBron, they're still saying, like, well, he's not Michael Jordan. Like, you can't give enough in the world of athletics, you know?
It's just, sports, and it's just, like, people have to talk in between the games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just have to talk and fill time and sell ads. So, like, up until you know, the finals are over, they're going to talk about that. Then the finals are over, they're going to talk about draft picks.
Yeah.
They got this pick of the draft. What are they going to do? Are they going to draft it? Are they going to trade it? I think they should trade it. I think they should draft it. Why do you think they should trade it? Why do you think they should draft it? Well, you know, they got the needs for the power forward right now. Well, they can get that. It's mid-level power forward. You can get them in the free agency. And so it's just people just we just like to talk about sports to distract us from the fact that the world is crumbling.
It is crumbling and crumbling fast. And now actually political talk is like sports talk too, where it's always about the hype. The funny thing that's really changed in sports reporting is we very rarely talk about the game that just happened. That's the smallest part. Let's say in football, Monday morning you'll talk about the game, and then the rest of the week is the game that's coming up and your predictions and what's going to happen. And then very little do we care about the actual game itself. It's always about the future and this thought that we have.
Yeah, it's just people. It's entertainment, man.
Yeah.
And so people just like personalities, even if if things are being said that are incredibly off base and incorrect.
Yeah.
It's like, was this person entertaining while they were talking about whether Dwayne Wade should have tweeted that or not? Like they'll have a segment just talking about somebody's tweet.
Yeah.
If this person is fired off in 3 seconds, they'll dedicate a 10-minute segment and get some goddamn Amazon.com sponsorship money for it. So it's just, people got to talk, man.
That's so great. All right, Baywatch comes out in theaters everywhere tomorrow, May 25th. Hannibal Buress, best of luck to you, my
Thanks,
friend.
man.
I'm glad
Good to
it's all
see you.
going great.
For sure.
See you again next time.
Yep.
The Bennington Show on today, Tuesday, Wednesday. Next Thursday, Jim Jefferies Unmasked. Jim Jefferies Unmasked over to the interrobang.com. It's going to be right here at the SiriusXM studios. It's going to be a lot of fun, and he's got a brand new show coming out that I was just talking to some PR people in the hall about. Yeah. I'm that kind of guy. I know the business people of show business, all right? And they're very excited about it. They're thinking really good things about it. And then I heard Hannibal, who's part of it, go, yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like this. That was a good show, man. Thanks for having me on your show.
I love him so much.
Like if you were living with him, you would never know whether he had just woken up or has been up for hours.
Right.
That kind of comfortability.
I think he's so adorable. I have the biggest crush on him.
People love Hannibal.
Yeah.
Love him. He's very loved in the alt community.
Mm-hmm.
And if you ever notice, the alt community doesn't have a lot of black guys.
I guess they don't, do they?
They're bearded white guys.
Mm-hmm. People with glasses, I think they tend to like.
Yeah, they love phobic girls. They love
Get them real mousy. Get them real mousy.
Mousy girls talking about how they're so scared and worried about something.
Right.
Not that all those things can't be funny, but they're just specific to those type
That's
of
their
things.
taste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dimitri Martin, who we did is he running this week?
No, he's running next week.
In terms of when his movie comes out.
Yeah.
He's a very thoughtful young man.
Yes.
And
smart.
Smart, thoughtful, precise. If I talked to somebody in the industry once who their knock on him was he's too precious with his material. He's too precious about it. And I go, I don't see how that's a bad thing. People can be like Paul Simon is very precious about his music. He doesn't like
it's just
to fuck around.
It's just a different way to be because like Paul Simon is great, but
Iron Maiden could also be great.
Yes,
but in comedy, Iron Maiden would come on after Paul Simon. You know what I mean? That's the weird thing about comedy.
Very few places, and maybe alt rooms do it, but very few clubs I think go. Okay, we're having a kind of a night. And so there's like an aesthetic to all of these comics.
Yeah, that's very rare in like a mainstream club like the Comedy Store. Never has done that. They might have Black Night or Ladies Night, you know. By the way, your friend Annie
Letterman
killed it last night.
Nice,
fucking killed it. One of the best sets I've ever seen her have. Just a real confidence in this material that she was doing. And I think I went up. No, Vecchione did his Tonight Show set in between. And so I was watching Annie do her thing. And she just sliced it up. She was just
I love
really
it.
Strong.
I'm such a fan of hers. Like I think she's so funny, so smart, and yeah, she's hilarious.
And what was very funny too is like the booker for the Tonight Show was there because he's with Vecchione, and she just did a set that maybe 2 words could have went on the Tonight Show. You know, like
wouldn't occur to her to maybe
young comics always like somebody from the Tonight Show is here. Let me do a 6-minute set that maybe, you know what I mean, could make them think, hey, she should be on the Tonight Show. But I also saw Tim Dillon go up to him. There's no connection between me and you. I'm not Tonight Show material. You're not a Tim Dillon show. He's just fucking talking crazy.
Oh my God, that's really funny.
It's adorable. Yeah, it's adorable. So tonight, Mike Vecchione on the Tonight Show, I saw the set, the 6.5 minutes last night, and he's got it, and it's funny, and you're going to enjoy it.
Man, I'm so excited. So that is tonight.
So back when I told you it was Weird Chris, right?
Mm-hmm.
He asked me, when I said I saw him run the set, he goes, did he wear his Tonight Show suit? I go, why would he do that? Why would he wear the suit?
He's going to get it sweaty.
Dry cleaning.
Yeah, that was a really good show last night. And then I did Anthony's show for 2 hours yesterday.
How was that?
Just so much fun. Just so much fun. Oh, by the way, Mark Norman came in wearing a Tonight Show shirt. That shirt they was wearing yesterday?
Yeah.
He wore that in front of the Tonight Show people.
No.
After he just recently did the Tonight Show.
He's like, I have other shirts, I swear.
Norm Macdonald is doing Caroline's next week, and I think we should try to do some kind of a Back to the Future bit with both of those guys to see if maybe they can't touch. What are these beautiful books you got sitting in front of you?
So this just came in today. They're from Jeremiah, who wrote us this like incredibly sweet note that you'll have to read after, but his father is Rick Haynes, who played bass for Gordon Lightfoot. So these are like really gorgeous book of photographs, and then there's a photo of Rick in here too. Just like really great concert photos.
Send me a cool T-shirt.
What's your T-shirt?
You got a lizard of some sort in a recycling circle.
Oh, no, that logo seems familiar to me.
Yeah, no.
These pictures are great.
Aren't they phenomenal? This is really, really sweet.
Of every aspect of the concert. I guess from being a kid, he got access because of his dad's thing, but then you got to be able to pull that off once you get there.
Now, he did, Gordon Lightfoot did record with Edmund Fitzgerald, right?
Yes. What a funny thing to say.
Was that a hit?
It was a huge hit.
Really?
Yeah, it was a gigantic top 40 hit.
Is it like 7 minutes long?
They used to have longer. They used to have things that were longer in those days.
That kind of like went through phases, right? Like first pop hits were like really short.
Well, they would do stuff. Yeah, pop hits would be short, and then the Beatles, I believe, started to stretch it out. And then what they would do is like "Light My Fire" was like 6 or 7 minute hit, and then some of the places would edit out any kind of jamming,
right,
or pieces of it. You know, there was always an American Pie thing that was like half
a radio
as long.
edit, yeah,
radio edit. But well, look up how long wreck of Edmund Fitzgerald was.
All right, 6:40, 6 minutes 40 seconds.
That was in 1976. That song was number 2 on the top 40 charts.
That's really weird to me.
Yeah. And then before that, Sundown was a big hit for him. If You Could Read My Mind, I went to 5. Rainy Day People, Carefree Highway. So yeah, he had major hits. Still a major touring act, and is a icon in Canada. Like, Canada takes such pride in Gordon Lightfoot, because I think he was one of those guys who didn't move. You know, like he stayed. Right. That, you know, not like, oh, I live in Canada and LA, but just I believe straight Canada. Here's the weird thing about that wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, because I remember when the song came out, you thought it was like about an old wreck, but the wreck itself had only been like 5 or 6 years before the song.
Oh, really?
Like, that's a modern day wreck. You know,
too soon.
Fucking strange content for a hit song.
I know, but there's something that really works about it too. Fellas, it's been good to know ya. The very masculine song, you know what I mean?
It's a shanty.
Very. What's that?
It's like almost like a sea shanty.
Sea shanty.
Yeah, like a sea shanty.
A shanty is a shack.
Oh, I thought that was like a sea song.
I've never heard this term before. I mean, I'm not saying that you're wrong, but a shanty is like, oh, she lives in a shanty.
Yeah, I've heard shanty town, but I thought shanty was also a term for like a word, like a song that like sailors would sing on a ship.
I've never heard this before. I mean, I'm not saying that you're wrong. You don't need to look it up.
This is
Let's discuss. Like,
it's like a pirate song.
Yeah, like something like a bunch of sailors would on a boat,
like a yo ho yo ho.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a sea shanty.
By the way, you get outside of yo ho yo ho, and there is no other song that would fall into sea shanty.
I don't know many of them.
No. I know, what would you do with the captain's daughter? What would you do with the captain's daughter?
Okay.
What would you do with the captain's daughter early in the morning?
I know that one.
But you're like, you think the captain be like, hey, what the fuck? Like,
I heard what you guys are saying.
I don't mind you singing about me, but my daughter's 11. This is very inappropriate.
It's disgusting.
Now, before we look it up, Chris, and you're always ready to look up, but has anyone else heard the term, they sang a sea shanty?
I had no idea of that term. Yeah, I'd never heard it before. It's interesting.
I thought it was common knowledge.
Well, maybe.
Name one thing.
No.
The yo ho ho would be the example.
I gave you yo ho ho
song and never called it a shanty. I'm not saying what you're describing as a shanty. I have never heard the term sea shanty.
I also gave you yo ho.
I know you did. Thank you for that.
But do you got any other shanties?
No, but it's something that like you see in a movie where a bunch of pirates or a bunch of dudes who are on a ship singing together.
Now, I'm just going to ask you before I give the answer. I'm going to give you the chance to back out right now, knowing that no one else has ever heard the term sea shanty. Because I'll just ask you off the bat, where did you hear the term?
I think in a movie or something. Like, I just know the term. I couldn't
pirate
tell you
movie?
where. Probably a pirate movie or like a fucking a movie with ships.
Do you think that you were dreaming?
I don't think so. Or maybe I've read it like in a book. They were like, there's a description that they were singing a sea shanty.
Is this in the Game of Thrones books?
I don't think so. You write mostly about food.
All right. I'm giving you, that was your stomach gurgling out of the nervousness.
You're hungry.
Are you ready to back out?
I'm not going to back out. I'm going to stick with the sea shanty. That's a real thing.
It is not
What?
a real thing. No, can I tell you the truth? It absolutely is a real thing. I just looked it up, and it is a thing. It's a thing I've never heard before.
I've never heard it.
I've never heard it. All right, hold on. Mike, Denver. Mike.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, buddy.
It is called a sea shanty.
Yes. Now it's
true.
Yes, we just figured that out. Now, where does the term come from, or who's used it?
Not sure about that, but I have a feeling that it's like English origin.
Yeah, I have the same feeling as well.
Now, I'm looking up. Some people are spelling it CH. CH. Other people spell it SH.
I would have spelled it SH.
Yeah, it's something like that, but he's right. Chris is right on this one.
Now, we're looking it up. Blow the man down.
Oh.
Okay.
But that's a yo-ho also. Yo-ho.
Yeah.
Blow the man down.
The coast of the High Barbary. These are all British things. Spanish ladies. Wasn't that from Jaws, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Farewell and adieu to your fine Spanish ladies. Sea shanty.
The Bonnie ship, the diamond. Yes, this is not American used.
How the fuck did I hear this?
At all. It blood red roses, fiddler's green. None of these are known.
Oh, My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean. Is that a sea shanty?
That's not on here. I never understood that fucking thing anyway. My Bonnie, was he saying like my sweetie, or is she a Bonnie?
I don't know. Maybe it's a term for like my sweetheart.
That's what I always kind of thought. But then I never heard anybody go, "Oh, you heard about his latest Bonnie, right?"
Right.
Gary, Indiana. Oh, Gary in Indianapolis. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Ronnie, what's up?
Yeah.
Hey, tell Hicks that's sea chanty. I'm an ex-sailor, man. It's chanty with a C.
Chanty.
Sea chanty?
Yeah.
Because you chant it?
Exactly. I don't know, guys, but it's just sea chanty. Don't ask me why, but I know that.
So when you were out at sea, did you actually sing those kind of songs, or did you just go with Def Leppard?
No, but the only thing we did like that, like when I was in boot camp, we walked under a tunnel, and every time we did that, we sang like Anchors Away. But that's about it.
Anchors away. That old song always seemed exciting. Like, we're getting the fuck out of here. Well, here's Dez and Nantucket. Dez.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hey.
I love the new show, by the way. Long-time listener. But I think the other guy just cleared it up. So it's a chanty when you're singing. And out here, they shuck scallops in a little wooden shack. They call it shanty, like a scallop shanty.
All right,
so they go out and they dredge, through the eelgrass. They pick up scallops and then they shuck them in this little shack.
So what, they shuck the scallops in the shanty?
Yeah, they would have had them, somebody had a shed and all the scallops go to one or another shanty somewhere close right by
that's the way that I knew the term shanty was like a real shack that was just slapped together. I don't think it has anything to do with this chanty that Chris is now moving into. John in New York. John.
Hey guys, there was a whole episode about this on Taxi back in the late 70s.
Sounds like where Chris learned
that's
about
where you
it.
got it.
I did watch a lot of Taxi
He's
as
a
I was
big
younger.
Taxi fan.
That was the 11 o'clock show back in the 80s.
First of all, it's a fucking great show.
Yeah.
What's funny is it's exactly what you guys are talking about. Tony's on the ship, and nobody knew what a sea shanty was, so they wanted to stick in New York, New York.
Colby, North Dakota.
Yeah, I think I know the movie that Hicks probably heard that term from. It was Club Dread.
He does love that movie.
I do like that movie. I think it's the only one.
Yeah, Coconut Pete, Bill Paxton's character, had an album called Sea Shanties and Wet Panties.
I had
That's where you got it.
I'm honest to God here. I'd never heard this term. I don't even know what got him to say.
Yeah, why did you say it? Because you said Gordon Lightfoot sea shanties?
Reckon Evans Fitzgerald is like a sea shanty.
But this is the thing. Could you write a new sea shanty? And just because it is about the sea, does that make it a shanty?
Yeah.
Like a sloop, John B., a sea shanty?
It seems like it could be, but maybe it's not because it's like a modern day shanty or chanty, as we've heard.
Is Criss Cross's sailing? Does that suddenly, hey, it's about the water, put it there.
Most of yacht rock is shanties.
Very little of yacht rock has to do with yachts. Yacht rock comes to the term of those guys are rich.
Right.
And they're on yachts, so let's make fun of them. Andy in Bestchester, Westchester.
You know, the sea shanty came from Popeye.
From Popeye?
Yeah, the cartoon.
Yes, I'm very aware with Popeye. I just never heard him use that term. Matt Ronkonkoma.
Hey, Ron. It was in the Chris Elliott movie, Cabin Boy.
It seems like it's
that movie.
just in movies, Tim. Jersey.
I've seen that, and I don't even know the term.
I learned about sea shanties from Summer Rental when John Candy's learning how to sail. The crazy old guy starts singing the Love Boat, and he calls it a sea shanty.
Now, again, the Love Boat should not. I mean, that song's written by Jack Jones.
But also, another weird one, another movie I've seen many times. Why did I not let
Never paid
sea
attention.
shanty?
Never let it sink in. Never let it sink in.
Never known this term.
Snowy. Oh, this fucking thing is being weird. Snowy, what's up, pal?
Yeah, how you doing, guys?
Good, man.
Yeah. First, before I ask the question to you, most sea shanties or whatever you call them, aren't they a little more lighthearted kind of thing you put on the ship? Why would Edmund Fitzgerald be a sea shanty about a shipwreck?
I guess just because it's about the water, and that's what we're getting into now. If you sing a song about the water, is Jimmy Buffett, who Chris swore he was going to do something, but here we are, Memorial Day, and he still hasn't done it. Is every one of his songs a sea shanty because it has the ocean and the sun in it somewhere?
Let me ask you a question, Ron, if I could, real quick. I was going to ask you, I mean, you mentioned Gordon Lightfoot. I'm a pretty big fan of him. Do you think he should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? I know the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is a big, debate questions and everything else. Do you think he should be in there?
To me, we're at the point now, once they let Kiss in, put anybody in that you want. Put anybody, there's no such... I think if you made a record and performed once in public, you're going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
You sang a song, so you're in.
I don't care if it was a sea shanty. Go in, get a little piece of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for your life.
Like, a lot of these are sea shanties. Should we let them in?
You know Gordon Lightfoot's song, If You Could Read My Mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Never thought I liked it. Matter of fact, I would have said, don't like it.
Uh-huh.
Until I heard Johnny Cash, late in his life, sing that song.
Interesting. I've never
Took a knee with it. Took a knee.
I don't think I've ever heard him cover it.
This is something that Chris should finally be looking for. Doesn't fucking, he's typing constantly. I might even just want to dish to get out of this today. I got my own kind of a headache day today. I feel like the Lord has just beat the shit out of me for no apparent reason today. So good, right?
Yeah, that gave me chills. That's really good.
You just like, when you think of like an elderly guy and he's still in love, you know what I mean? He's still trying to express himself. I'm like, this fucking destroys me. Hey, Joe. Joe, what's up?
Oh, I'm having fun. So those songs, originally the sea shanties, they're not just about the sea. They're actually timing songs.
So when you're like pulling the sails and the ropes and stuff?
Exactly. And so like you were talking about the Captain Star, it's originally What Do You Do with a Drunken Sailor?
Yeah.
But it's a timing song for when you're pulling ropes. So, I mean, they haven't been really sung in a long time.
That's actually,
To get everyone to be working together at the same pace. They're
right, so
using the
you're
beat
pulling
of
on
the
a
song.
certain beat.
Right.
You're breaking at the
Gotcha.
same time. So that makes total sense, more than the way we got derailed or fucking... By the way, if there is a movie that I will watch It is any film that they're looking for sea treasure.
You like a sea treasure movie?
First of all, it's one of the great things of like we found treasure, and you have that moment where you're jumping up in. It's terrible in real life. And for any treasure that you find, there's 180 lawsuits every fucking time, and countries try to say that was our gold from 250 years ago. It was
Right.
stolen. It's fucking terrible. But what was the one? It was just on recently. Is it the Deep Blue Sea? The one with the girl with the incredibly hot ass.
I'm not sure.
It was the guy who got killed from Furious 5, Paul Walker.
Uh-huh.
And
Jessica Alba, Into the Blue.
What's it called?
Into the Blue.
Terrible movie. I'll fucking watch that thing. I'll watch every moment of it. I'm like, there's something down there. I think I'm bottom of the sea. They fucking get this. They're going to make a lot of money.
You don't think it's treasure, do you?
But no one ever stops fucking with them. No matter what you do. Some pirates and some drug runners.
Sounds fun.
It's every one of these movies. Matthew McConaughey did one with Kate Hudson. Terrible movie. I'll watch it like there's no fucking tomorrow. Just love the idea. Well, you know the guy who found the treasure off of Key West, and they have the Key West Museum.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of it, but he was a guy. He and his family went out every fucking day for like 16 years, and they were poor as fuck. They didn't have shit, and then they hit this fucking treasure. It's Captain. I'm gonna fucking think of it. Chris is looking it up now, though.
Mel Fisher?
Captain Mel Fisher. Well, I'm down in fucking Key West and at the bar, and Mel Fisher is at the bar, right? And he's somewhat of a local celebrity. He's a guy who enjoyed being fucking drunk. And he, he's sitting there, his fucking shirt is open, and he's wearing this thing around his neck, and it was like a fucking doubloon or something.
Holy
it was like
shit.
a gold coin. And he was like, just sitting there telling people stories. Whoa, we were out. For 5 years, I was like at 200 yards away from it. You know what I mean? Like, you never know until you find it.
So he was adamant that he was going to find something. Like, did he know what he was looking for?
Yeah, he had studied maps and all this and realized that this ship had to go down in between this area and that area. And, he had family members die doing these things. It's not a comfortable life. But even the guy that found the Titanic the first time, I went and saw him talk. And then two friends of mine at the time, and I was offered in to be one of the people that was in charge of that, taking the fucking Titanic shit around. Those were two guys that I did my early clubs with on the business side of it.
Wow.
And they, but it's a nightmarish, that part of it. Go back and watch the documentary when they found the fucking Titanic, just the look on their faces that they had. And that was something that didn't have gold. Now, it turned out to be worth a fortune and all these other rights that people stayed for whatever reason, way more fucking interested in that wreck than any else, where they'll go and look at a fucking dinner plate. People line up to see the fucking dinner plates from the Titanic that are cracked. But the gold itself, I like that better than we broke into an Egyptian tomb. But I gotta tell you, I don't mind those movies either.
I also think those, that seems like more a risk because I feel you're at a greater risk of haunting. Whereas I just feel like there's not too many underwater ghosts. Like, you're not going to bring them back up with you. Well, the whole idea of the haunted tomb, and then they ruin your life and you're cursed forever.
Yeah, that came. Well, first of all, I don't think any of them are actually ever been booby trapped. I think that's always a bullshit lie. But they are finding more of these because the satellite stuff that they have, the satellite is able to pick up different stuff. So there was a thing just on 60 Minutes not too long ago that a lady has found 20,000 things around the world just from looking at satellites and going, you could tell that the Earth has been moved and blah, 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 and there's something underneath of it. Doesn't mean that they're all treasures. But the Egyptian thing, they're always like, you're looting. But people have been looting for thousands of years, Egyptian tombs. Like they've always looted.
Right.
And one of the things, that's where a lot of the mythology of it is, it's haunted and bad things happen, is because people have always tried to break into those things.
Yeah, because I know that there were circumstances, like even like they would come across something, they would think they were the first person there, and they're like, oh, someone like looted this like hundreds of years ago.
Yes.
Like this is all gone.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And like they're talking about, oh, we're trying to fucking, find out because the Egyptian stuff is out and it's sad and it's looted. I'm like, come to my neighborhood. Walk up to the fucking MoMA. There's giant fucking rooms. It's horrible.
Right.
We have a bunch of their treasure.
Right.
In fucking New York City. Like if we went to Egypt and you're like, oh yeah, there's the Constitution of the United States. There's fucking Ben Franklin's desk. We'd be fucking freaking out. What the fuck is this doing here?
This isn't yours.
Oh yeah. 3 weeks ago, we went and we just pulled out Al Jolson and we put him here.
By the way, I had heard, the Jane Hotel in New York? I had heard that they have a fountain in their lobby that is a fountain from the Titanic. And I don't know if it's true, but I had heard some people talking about it, like, that is insane.
I doubt it very much because the Titanic never even made it to the United States. So how would they have gotten the fountain?
I don't know, but I had heard people talking about this.
Tappy's already looking into this whole story.
I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing a Titanic fountain. There's a fountain, but it's not from the Titanic.
Trying to think. Maybe it was not the Jane. I could have sworn it was, though.
Well, there could have been nothing. Because how the thing sank before it got to New York.
Right.
So how would they have gotten the fountain?
I don't know. Like someone had purchased
But
something.
they could have only done that in the last 25 years.
Right. Yes, it was.
Because the Jane is very old.
I thought the Jane was on the newer side.
I don't know what the fuck. I'm thinking of Jane Street. I'm thinking of Jane Street. Hey, Brett. Brett, what's up?
Hey, Ronnie B, $1,000,000, buddy.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, you guys are talking about that sea chanty and how there's kind of like nothing new, really. It's very the last caller was right. It's very cadence counting like.
Yeah.
But if you listen to the beginning, it's very also Celtic. Listen to Shipping Off to Boston. The beginning of it is very sea chanty-ish.
Well, first of all, that's the best fucking song going today.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
It'll fucking pop any place that you're at.
Yeah.
The beginning of this. Anyway, let's move on. Here's Scott. Scott, what's up, buddy?
Hey, Ron. You were talking about hunting for treasure. There's a new show. It's either on Nat Geo or Discovery Channel called Cooper's Treasure. And the guy has these maps that an astronaut had orbited the Earth and looked down and located all of these sunken ships. It is pretty cool.
Now, this is real or fictional? So this is like a reality show. So an astronaut...
In the 60s.
By the way, was this Buzz Aldrin or Cooper that did it? I kind of know the story. Yeah. It was either Gordo Cooper or Buzz Aldrin, the way I'd heard this story.
Yeah, it's the Gordon Cooper guy that did it, and he has all of his documents.
Oh, you just said it was even called Cooper's Treasure.
Right.
All right, now I have to fucking watch this now.
I think you'll enjoy it.
So they're saying that he could see down from space what he was looking at and know where his treasure would be?
Where?
Yeah, he never told him exactly what he could see. So part of the show was trying to figure out if he really could see it or not. But supposedly he was supposed to be looking for, I don't know, submarines or something like that. Yeah. But he was finding all of these sunken ships and marking them. And then later in life, he was going out trying to find them. And this guy's kind of picked up where he left off.
All right, thanks. This sounds terrible, and I'm going to watch it. I mean, it sounds like it's complete bull. I don't know how just because you're in space, your eyesight would be better than somebody's in a plane. You know, he's not even using an infrared thing or anything. Hey, here is Tim. Tim, what's up?
Yeah, when I was a kid, I went to a big thing with Egyptian tombs and stuff.
Yeah.
And all of that started when they found King Tut's tomb, and there was a curse on a tablet that said, all who enter here will be dead. And, you know, it's like the 1920s, they're in the desert, and the guy cuts himself shaving, and he dies.
Right.
And then another guy gets bitten by a fly, and he dies. And it's like, oh, the curse is real. Almost all of it came directly out of that, because 2 people died when we didn't know what medicine really was. And it all came from, you know, it became cursed tombs. And the Curse of Oak Island, where they're looking for the money pit. Do you watch that?
No.
I've heard. I haven't watched it, but I've heard of this. Like they say, it's like some. There's some giant pit that treasure's supposed to be in, and it's been like 100 years. It's what it is. It's a weird pit.
It was supposed to be. It was supposed to be Captain Kidd's treasure, but now they've got the Illuminati and they've got the Crusaders and the everybody's on this island like hundreds
Chris
and hundreds
just said
of
it was
years
a weird
ago.
pit.
It is a weird pit.
To just there wasn't this. It's like a pit, like this weird pit. It's supposed to be money down there. Nobody knows what's happening.
Your right pit is the weird pit.
It's like fucking whack.
It's like fucking fucked up. It's like fucking like all this treasure and shit in there. It's fucking crazy.
Oh shit.
Also, by the way, we've all been saying it. Yeah, is there anything more childish than saying treasure? There's like treasures in there.
Well, what else would it be?
I know, but it just sounds like
These
only a thing a
literally-
little kid would be like, treasure. Oh my god, these treasures.
The things that we're talking about, they were transported treasures. You know what I mean? They were ripping off gold from the Incas. They were taking this back to the queen to say, oh, don't you like us? Here are treasures. And she was like, yes, take them into the other room. And bring me back some of those chocolates. But these literally were treasures. These were treasures. Not just a treasure chest. Just fucking filled. And then like, you know, where's my treasure? There was some really bad storms. And all your treasure's gone. What? Fucking freaks and people. Motherfucker.
You better get my treasure back.
It's gonna be hard.
Wasn't anyone with them?
They're dead.
Ron in Missouri.
Hey, Ron, how's it going?
Yeah.
I was wondering if you'd ever heard of the legend of Oak Island.
Oak Island? No.
Yeah, it's up around Nova Scotia area, and it was a treasure that was buried on an island, maybe by the Knights Templars even. And there's a show on Learning Channel or Discovery Channel that there's a couple of millionaire guys that are drilling all over this island looking for this treasure. Over the last couple of 100 years, there's been several people die from it. And
I'll say this: when they find it, then I'll get involved. Because
they don't know what even the treasure is. They think it may be the Ark of the Covenant.
well, there was a thing picked up in only one British newspaper where a guy believes he found Noah's Ark. And they're like, this is definitely Noah's Ark. I was watching another doc on Netflix where they thought that they had found Joseph and his Technicolor Dreamcoat, his fucking tomb. And, you know, these are like religious guys doing this. And I'm watching it for like, I got about a quarter of the way into it. I go, even I can't fucking watch this. You know? But I wanted it to be it. I wanted them to find Joseph's fucking house.
I heard someone once doing the thing where like they were trying to say, it was like, oh, somebody found Noah's Ark, different pieces of it or whatever. And they were like, and also they were trying to scientifically prove that not only did it exist, but also that there were dinosaurs on it, because they were saying like, dinosaurs don't quite make sense with the biblical stories, but they're like, no, they were just some of the animals that were on the ark.
Yes.
There's just like a little pen with 2 T-Rexes in it.
Well, there are plenty of people who, and I know you guys are doubting Thomases, that thought that there were some references to dinosaurs in the Bible. And that Jesus probably either rode a dinosaur.
I'm sorry.
Or worked at a place where a dinosaur was like a bulldozer.
Okay, so that's the Flintstones this week. I think you're thinking of.
Well, a lot of the Flintstones is based on biblical scholars,
Really?
In the town of Bedrock. The way they're even saying that.
Yeah.
It's a modern, history.
Yeah.
His store.
Mm-hmm.
His story. When we're talking about him,
right.
What were you talking about? The Christ. All right?
Jesus.
The Christ. Yes, Jesus. There isn't a second Christ. There's not a Bernie Christ. If there was, there'd be some people doing that. Hey, here's Tim, Panic in Detroit.
Hey, Ronnie. I don't know how much of a spoiler you want on this Cooper's treasure.
I want all of it, brother. Bring it on.
Okay, you got it. It was during the Mercury missions, and he had a magnetometer with him. And like that guy said, he was looking for submarines or nuclear weapons or whatever. Well, and that's how he found these things on the in the ocean floor.
Right.
And they actually think that one of his sites, and this is a spoiler, found one of the anchors from Columbus's ship.
That's
so they're actually finding stuff that Cooper saw from space, or at least this magnetometer did.
Gordon Cooper was the last of the Mercury astronauts. Dennis Quaid played him in the movie. And at that moment, Gordo Cooper was the greatest pilot of all time. Well, here's a guy I don't get to talk too much, Mr. Hard Rock Johnny. Hard Rock, hard times.
Benningtons. I have lots of treasured pants here, but the Cooper's Treasure Show is kind of cool, and it's a cool because like the guy said, he flew around the earth I forget how many times they said, and he had to keep drawing maps, and he was actually looking for missile silos in Cuba. So
didn't they already have maps before we went into space? He's not America's Vespucci
cartographer. He was the cartographer from space. So he was looking to see from space if there were if Russia had built missile silos or
Russia. Those
Cuba.
Son of a bitches,
bastards. There were still, even back then, there were problems.
Oh yeah,
and it's cool. Don't waste your time with Oak Island. It's the worst TV show ever, and they're never going to find anything.
They may find the Ark of the Covenant.
And then someone's face is going to burn off when they open it.
It could happen. I'll take you back to a movie from the 80s you wouldn't fucking believe.
It's a documentary, actually.
Well, based on a documentary. It's a docudrama.
Was the guy from Indiana?
And all this came because Chris threw in the term sea shanty. We never got Gordon Lightfoot to get the actual love that he deserved here today.
I know. All of this came from an old sea term. The shanty.
It's about time for you to start working 4-day weeks and start crabbing off the dock, right?
Friday 12:30. After I do maybe a little live TV appearance Friday morning, I will be heading down the shore. I'll give you more updates on the live TV thing.
Fox and Friends?
No, I wish, because then it would mean that our president would be watching me. It'll be it's more local news.
Oh, is that Ray Kelly's son?
Yeah. I think I'm going to do a little segment on cooking, a little cooking segment, I believe.
Well, first of all, I will be watching Second of all, there's a lot of push for Ray Kelly to get that FBI job.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They said the only thing that stops it from happening is his son is insane. He really is. I mean, that show is the craziest fucking show. And you know, when people were like, Jenny wanted to be on TV, and people were like, you know, Jenny, what's her name from? Yeah. And I'm like, she's as good as them. She might as well do it.
Oh, yeah.
Keep following your dream. Because some lunatics get shows. I was looking at Rachel Ray today, and I'm like, she's been on TV for like 12 years now. She hasn't improved a bit.
No.
And I'm sure she's banked millions of dollars.
I remember when that show came out, I was like, well, she clearly doesn't know how to do this. There's no way this is going to last. It was very clear that they took a chance and she was out of her element. And I was like, yeah, I give this a season.
Cooking, she's not in her element.
I don't think
She's
so
a
either.
terrible cook.
She cooks with extra virgin olive oil. Do you know how offensive that is to me?
That's EVOO.
Exactly. That's what she calls it.
Hate that. That reminds me of the other guy that I hate that cooks on TV that thinks he's really good.
What is that?
Guy Fieri.
Well, does he cook or just eat on TV?
He really
mostly
does. He just eats a lot on
can
TV.
do that. I like food.
And he's always like, hey, man, we're here at Chick-fil-A. Stuff is never like, oh, what is this little place that he found? Look at the size of these pickles.
And his whole thing of like getting popular was that he just took really big, messy bites. Like that was like his signature thing. I don't even care I'm on TV. I'm gonna bite the shit out of this
That's
thing.
donkey punch, dude. he just took a cock in my ass and punched me in the back of the head.
Just donkey punch.
We gotta go over to his restaurant sometime though, just to see how bad it is.
I would love to.
I think it's called Donkey Punch.
That's the thing that kills me. He's like, one day he picked up a sandwich and he looked at it and there was a lot of salami and he goes, so much salami, gotta call my mommy. I was like, really? Really? He's getting paid for that.
Yeah, he's getting paid a lot too. He's getting paid a lot.
Why am I not doing that?
You tell me, Johnny. I'd be watching. I would miss a fucking week.
He's at it again.
Maybe Friday will be the start of my new career on TV.
I hope it is.
By the way, still no hearing back with a date for me doing Trunk Show. And quite frankly, it feels like we've had a falling out with Volume, right?
They're taking some time to get back to us. It's very. It's not. I don't believe that should be.
Oh my God! How are you representing me? I drew a line in the sand with them, and then you said taking a lot of time to get back to us. I don't believe that should be. Thank you.
He said it a lot
my
faster than he did.
Pilgrim friend.
I was with Eddie last night. He said that he emailed Chris earlier in the week.
Yeah, I'm talking with his producer.
What is the talk about?
To work out a date. It's going to be a Monday in the coming weeks. I'm working out your schedule. There's a lot. We're doing a lot of shit.
I'm down. Just right back. I'm not fucking doing it because I just got screamed at on my own show. So I'm not fucking doing it. Let them know. It's going on too long. We've got a lot of shit. Shit. All right. I got Tommy Rhodes coming in, so I'll say goodbye to you, Johnny.
Later, Benningtons. Have a wonderful day.
Peace, Johnny.
Peace in the valley. Right back with Tommy Rhodes. This is Bennington.
Bennington, Raw Dog Comedy, Sirius XM 99.
Ring's mission is to make neighborhoods safer. Today, over 1 million people use the amazing Ring video doorbell to help protect their homes. Ring knows home security begins at the front door, but it doesn't end there.
So they're extending that same level of security to the rest of your home with the Ring Floodlight Cam. Just like Ring's amazing doorbell, Floodlight Cam is a motion-activated camera and floodlight that connects right into your phone with HD video and two-way audio that lets you know the moment anybody steps on your property.
See and speak to visitors, even set off an alarm right from your phone. With Ring's Floodlight Cam, when things go bump in the night, you'll immediately know what it is. Whether you're home or away, the Ring Floodlight Cam lets you keep an eye on your home from anywhere.
Ring Floodlight offers the ultimate in home security with high visibility floodlights and a powerful HD camera that puts security in your hands. With Ring, you're always home. Save up to $150 off a Ring security kit when you go to ring.com/comedy. Ring.com/comedy. That's ring.com/comedy. Got it, Chrissy.
Welcome back to Bennington. Tom Rhodes is in studio. Tom will be performing at Yuck Yucks in Toronto next week, May 31st through June 4th. Go to tomrhodes.net for all additional dates. And on Twitter, it's @_Tom Rhodes.
Yuck Yucks. Yuck Yucks is Canadian for comedy. They're still...
It's really... I think the strangest name for a comedy club ever was in outside of London, on the perimeter of London. It was called Ha Bloody Ha.
No, that I love.
Yeah. But Yuck Yucks is up there.
Now, what was the first club you used to do? Was it Giggles?
The first big club in Florida was called Giggles. And you didn't have to do all that well then. You just had to get a giggle. I'm like, what the fuck? I got a giggle. Bring me back. You heard them?
They're giggling.
I thought all you wanted was a giggle. We were talking as Tom came through the door. And, dude, I so wanted you on that Anthony Cumia podcast with me yesterday because, Manchester just happened. And I'm like, oh, boy, here we go. But Anthony, did a thing of, no, I've talked about it on other shows. We'll just have fun. But I was thinking I was going to be 2 hours into that with him and his listeners.
Yeah, I assumed that was going to be the only topic.
The topic would be Roundup.
Oh, God.
Even though Manchester's pretty far away from here. But we were talking about where you get your news from. What's your number one news source? I'm going to go to Chris Stanley first.
I go to Drudge Report probably first when
Drudge Report
crazy is
first.
happening.
Yeah.
Really?
No. No, we're talking about a daily day. Just any day. Drudge is number one for you.
It's number one, yeah.
Yeah.
In the 90s?
That's what I was going to say.
Currently.
It's still the number one news. But that doesn't make it good. While you're bragging about it.
It's insane.
Vito, what about for you?
CNN, because they have a little thing that says trending and what's happening on the side, so it just makes it easy.
I very rarely go to those kind of, I don't go to Fox News online. I'm going to see CNN and Fox News. It's one of the reasons why I don't go to them. I'm already looking for a different thing than I would see on TV. Where do you go first?
The Guardian.
The Guardian.
Which actually, it's a British paper, and it originated in Manchester. It was the north of England had communist roots,
yeah.
So it's kind of I think it's a good news source, but it does.
They also
lean left.
they have an American branch now. So when you are in a computer here, you're looking at the ones aimed at America, I believe. I think it's either the Guardian or the Daily Mail. Who came in with Barry Crimmins the last time Barry came in?
That was the Guardian.
So I said to him, I go, the thing, and he goes, yeah, but we really are American based with a lot of our news.
Yeah. I think it's one of the smartest papers in the world, and I think it's up there with the New York Times and the Washington Post.
I go to Breitbart every day. And why does that get a laugh? We got the president elected, didn't we? I go to Breitbart.
It's the paper of champions.
Just giggles.
You know what? It teaches me what the snowflakes are up to, and it teaches me what the lib. Go to Breitbart right now and see what the number one story is.
See what the cucks are up to.
Yeah. A guy I saw hanging out yesterday had a Trump cock thing on, and he goes, why did Chris stop that? And I go, Chris, A, doesn't start, or when he does start, he stops. All right, what's the big thing?
Speaker of the Boy Scouts, Ryan, I don't agree with Trump. Comey's not a nut job. Is their lead story.
Scouts, I don't agree with Trump. Comey's not a nut job.
That's a great article. Read that. You'll learn some stuff.
Yeah. Cock.
And then, there's all that stuff is in there. And where do you go, Gail?
I go to BBC News.
The BBC.
See, Gail and I lean towards the English perspective.
Both of you are more like,
a couple of fancy gents over here.
That's right. Top of the morning.
When you say football, I'm always confused by what you guys mean.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot.
Yeah.
You say American football.
No, I don't say American football.
Yes, that's what you call it.
No, I call it football. What is that on the iBang right there? That's where I go every day.
Ellen has a new stand-up hour coming to Netflix.
That's surprising. Does she dance to the most F? I heard that somebody was on, Jessica Simpson was on her show and no one could understand Jessica. And I like her more now. I like her bigger.
Yeah.
I like her thicker, and I like her even crazier.
I agree that I do enjoy the thicker Jessica Simpson.
She's
like settled into herself.
Yeah, she's settled in, and she doesn't seem so hungry.
Yeah.
You know?
Jessica.
You think there'll be a Dukes of Hazzard too?
I'm hoping for two reasons. A, when you grew up this way, South gonna rise again. And two, they're not going to catch those Duke boys. I mean, every week I used to think, well, this is it.
They're done.
They've got them.
They're on the edge of the cliff. They're surrounded.
So where are you performing in New York? You're at the Cellar this weekend,
The Comedy Cellar and the Comedy Underground.
Which do you prefer? You got to pick one.
Wow. Well, I mean, the Cellar is the Cellar is the spot.
The answer is the Underground. Okay. Answer is the Underground.
Sorry.
Yeah. Two reasons. Number one, it looks like a TV show.
Yeah, I did a Tell's Comedy Underground there. So whenever I do a set there, it feels like a TV taping. And they have the band right next to the stage, which is cool.
Yeah, that is cool. And now they're using that Black Pussycat room.
Yeah.
And that thing's selling out.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've done
It just stacks one on top of the other.
It's like my favorite room. It's so cool.
Pussycat's cool. It's like millennial hipsters sipping expensive fruity cocktails.
Although most of those millennials look like they're in their 40s today.
Yeah.
They're older millennials. I think most millennials are broke.
Yeah.
They just got no money.
Spend all their money on mustache wax.
They spent a lot of their money on college like a fucking idiot.
Yeah, that's really where a generation went wrong. The whole college thing didn't quite pan out for a generation.
I know in my neighborhood it didn't occur to me or anyone I had ever met.
It literally...
There was one kid in my neighborhood went to college. We all went down to the train station to wave goodbye to him.
Oh my God.
There he goes.
Well, do you remember when you were in high school and a lot of the smart kids got letters from universities saying, please apply here?
Yeah.
My grades were so bad in high school. I remember the only letters I got were from the United States Army and the Orlando Barber College.
Sweet.
They were like,
either way, you're serving.
You got into the barber's college?
No, I didn't apply, but my class ring had a dial on it, so I could change the number every year.
I think the only college that reached out to me was Drexel, and I was like, I don't know.
That's a good school,
and I don't know if they do that. I'm not even sure how they
went
got
out of your way to go to Drexel.
And then later, I kind of regretted it. But the whole thing was my interest. They didn't have any major, and they're like, we can cater a major to you.
Was their mascot the Gary Oldman pimp character?
Who or what is Drexel?
That's what it should say on the front page.
Their motto is "It ain't white boy day."
Now there's a woman with big breastises right over there. You're not even looking at her. You're clocking me. Vito, how much you owe for your college loan?
Around $100,000. And I've been working. That's been working down too.
What was it at one point?
It was at like 150,000 at one point.
I can't believe you paid off 50 G's already.
Well, my mom helped me out a lot, and I started paying from year one. Like my mom was like, "We don't have enough money for
you to go get a film degree." Yeah. And now you're not trying to be a filmmaker, right?
No, now I'm working in radio, which is very different from film.
Yes, number one, there's no visual thing.
In many ways, total opposite.
I like Vito. Vito's a dancer.
Yeah, he is.
He is a dancer.
Yeah, we were dancing at JFL together.
That's right.
Why I was so disappointed when you weren't dancing at Moon Tower. It's like just me and Jen on the dance floor. I'm like, where's Vito? Vito loves to dance.
Vito does big man dancing, though, where you're not, that he puts his hands close to it.
No, he feels it.
Yeah,
he feels
let me see a dance.
He's a dancer.
Well, it depends on the song.
Maybe put a little song.
Do something with the drop, like you were in some Jersey nightclub. All right.
All right, hook him up with a good.
Give me a beat, Chris.
I don't know any of the EDM songs.
Why don't you? Pursuit of Happiness by Steve Aoki and Kid Cudi.
I was in a nightclub in Amsterdam years ago, and a guy said that the truth lives on the dance floor, and the people who aren't dancing are just afraid of the truth.
I get fucked up too. So, all right, we got this. Vito, you want to come in here and dance? Let's bring it down for him.
Here he comes.
The hat really.
I know
Yeah,
the hat
helps a lot.
The hat is definitely going to be.
Hey, I got a call from somebody who wants you to do hot yoga at 180 degrees. Would you be able to do it?
I'll try.
Well, first they asked for Chris. I said he would die.
Yeah, we can't afford that.
Would you do it, Chris?
Hot yoga?
Yeah.
I'll give it a shot.
I used to do it. I used to be obsessed with it.
Yeah.
My wife nixed the program, but I used to really enjoy it.
Is it good for you?
I liked it. You know, you're sweating, so it opens up your pores. It's good for your skin and stuff.
All right, ready to do this?
And then everybody's like practically naked in it. It's really great.
All right.
That sounds pretty good.
Does this song work for you?
Yeah, that is my shit. I've seen this live.
You got to bring it up. Just okay, stop this music. Tom Rhodes is here. See him next week. Where, Chris?
You can see him in Yuck Yucks in Toronto. That's next week, May 31st through June 4th. Go to TomRhodes.net for all additional dates. On Twitter @_Tom Rhodes. No, this week he'll be at the Comedy Cellar in Village Underground in New York City.
Yeah.
By the way, they're also telling me that a lot of Europeans hang out at the Pussycat part of that thing. But I think there's Europeans.
That's why I love the Cellar. Every night is, people from all over the world.
Yeah. Now, is that because of Louis' show? Plays everywhere? Or what?
No, it was always like that. I mean, when I lived here in the late 90s, that place would be half empty.
Yeah.
And sometimes it could be really rough. Now it's sold out every night, but it always had people from all over the world.
I wonder why that is.
I mean, location, people like basements.
I don't know. I would think that if I was a tourist, that it would be probably at Caroline's. Like, I don't know. I just saw it was close. But what was the? Remember, comics used to be down at the meatpacking district, and that has turned very European now.
Yeah.
I did comics when it was open. That was a nice room.
But that area is like European club goers, I think, mostly, right?
European kind of fashion people. People like myself who design dresses.
I love your ascot today, by the way.
Well, you know what? The thing is these things these dresses come to me in dreams. I have a dream. I just get up every morning. I sketch first thing in the morning. So, it's something to do. Chris, I'd like to give you a full makeover.
You think? You think I could pull that off?
Yeah.
Pull what off? A full makeover?
I feel like I would not be able to. I'm very comfortable in these dad shirts. Is what I'm saying.
Why?
I don't know. Just that's what I've been wearing for the last 2 years.
Are you still not drinking, Chris?
No, I'm drinking very much so.
Oh, okay, great. Welcome back.
He's drinking. He's smoking.
Just started smoking again after a year.
Back on the
gambling.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
What
he's
doesn't he do?
Yeah. It's all dangerous activities that I'm enjoying.
By the way, I sketched this morning. This came to me in a dream.
Oh my god, that's really cool.
Yeah, and when I'm going to just put I'll just put
collars in spring. That's pretty dangerous.
Yeah, it is. And I just put, you see next to it, black. I wanted this dress.
Yeah, I think that's a classic.
And I want there to be like a hole in the top of the dress for the head to
come through.
Two on this side.
Yeah.
For the arms, and then the whole bottom open.
Right.
Just completely open.
Now,
I think you should start dressing like Karl Lagerfeld.
I see Karl Lagerfeld almost every day walking in on Park Avenue. He's always in very fragile shape, and but he looks serious as a fucking heart attack.
Yeah,
serious as can be.
I think that's like probably one of the best looks going.
Yeah, he
it's
is.
just so good.
I always see him in front of Bernie Madoff's old building. I don't know whether he lives there, but
he's trying to get his money back.
He takes a walk. That was my favorite time in New York. I used to walk past Bernie Madoff's building every day on the way in, and the paparazzi would just be out, just hoping to catch a picture of him, like 150. And if he came out, they would just swarm him.
Wow.
Like there was no kindness to their, can we get a picture? They just chased him like he was a wild boar. I got news for you. I don't think Vito is the dancer that you made him out to be.
Oh, okay.
I think you guys might have been a little drunk.
He enjoys himself on the dance floor.
Chris, you drink, but you don't dance.
No, I don't dance. No.
He has his look when he's drinking is very Lee Marvin. Just
thinking about
something has got like revenge seems like it's on the back of his mind.
And I found myself here.
Jen and I tried to get Chris to come out on the dance floor with us when we were in Austin. And we're like, come on. And he actually like growled like an animal. He was like, and that was it. And we're like, I think that's a no.
But the fact that you started smoking again, my theory is if you're back on anything, you're back on everything. You know what I mean? It's not like you can, I drink, but I don't smoke. I drink, but I don't do coke. It's all right. Because what drunk is going to turn down a cigarette or a line of coke? You got to be fucking stupid.
I think
It has to be the dumbest fucking. I agree with you. I'm on your side with this. Like you never find like an alcoholic who says I'm on a diet. Why would you?
All right.
You're gonna stop at Denny's on the way home.
It tastes better when you're hammered. It just does.
There's no doubt about it. There's places I could only eat if I was drunk.
Most diner food is like greatly improved by being drunk.
Particularly like suburban hack diner. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like a diner food is great food. But like the Denny's
Right. But bad diner food suddenly becomes acceptable. You're like, this is pretty good.
I'm eating.
Yeah.
I'm filling up.
It's hot.
Yes.
There's cheese on it.
So tell me, did you go back to drinking?
No, man, I'm totally clean. Yeah, and my wife has pretty much nixed the occasional marijuana puff that I was having. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so I'm 100%.
No, why did you stay with marijuana
I enjoy, you know, I don't
You
know.
enjoy it.
I
You enjoy
it.
these things.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
So why stop
But
marijuana?
I would think it helped me come up with jokes, and she was like, "No, they're not good." So,
No.
Yeah. Like, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
This is the joke that's going to change the world.
I'm trying to think of people who I think Paul Simon said that he would smoke weed before writing all the time.
Really?
I think that a lot of good things have come from drugs. Matter of fact, you know what they say is the safest of all the organics to do? It isn't marijuana.
Mushrooms.
Shrooms.
Yeah.
Shrooms.
The safest.
Yeah.
As far as for your body.
Yeah. Least safest, Jimson weed, which I enjoyed one night, but never again.
I remember I did the very first HBO comedy festival in Aspen.
Mm-hmm.
I was 95, and George Carlin, they had a Q&A with George Carlin, and somebody asked him if he smoked pot to write material, and he said he never smokes pot to write material. He always writes it's totally clear, and then later he'll smoke a joint and go back, and it's punch-up time.
Right. But do you sit down and write the way he... Right?
No.
Would you sit down?
I don't. I
Yeah.
never sit down. I'm going to write at 3 o'clock. And you told me years ago, good comedy's not written on a beach. It's written like in a bowling alley at 3 in the morning.
See, I am completely wrong. Any advice? I mean, I
You told me
literally...
that in Florida, like guys would sit down and try and write and stuff.
Even to this day, people who work hard at it, I don't like them at all. I don't like their comedy. I don't like the work ethic that they have.
Yeah.
I believe that I always thought it should be left to actual funny people, not people who have studied comedy and cared about it. But I'm sure that that's not true.
My best stuff always comes out in conversation with good friends. You're
Right.
hanging out and you're
Street corner.
yourself,
Yeah.
and you
Street
just
corner boys.
pop out something. And you go, oh God, I should try and remember that.
Mine has normally come from an argument with a woman, or no. But to me, it does seem like now comedy is not left to the funny people. There are plenty of people who are like, I grew up in my room studying the tapes of SCTV, blah blah blah. For some reason, that means nothing to me.
But who of the most successful comedians out there right now would you say are that personality? Because they certainly exist.
Jerry Seinfeld.
Jerry
Seinfeld is a guy who is always talking about sitting down to write every day. And conversationally, I don't know whether I would ever say, oh, what a funny guy. I know you can't say that in your position, Tom, and I respect it. But no one ever says I was hanging out with Seinfeld and he was controlling the room.
He was killing me.
He just doesn't do that. He
Wow,
works at it.
Yeah.
He works at it. And there are plenty of people like that.
Right.
But I like people that are closer to, I'll just say like Artie, where you're like, man, I wish Artie Lang worked at it harder because he's really funny.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you know he does it.
Right.
You know you know that he's not struggling with it, and then he would be just as funny if he never went on stage.
Yeah. He is just naturally.
Here's my idea of funny, actual funny, is the black barbershop thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Where everybody's just sitting around popping off.
And then I always go, so why do you guys pick Kevin Hart and Hannibal Buress? Why isn't everybody in the audience just take 5 minutes and go on stage?
Did you see that Kevin Hart special in Philadelphia where he sold out that football stadium?
Yeah. Well, I didn't see it, but I was aware of it. And he could have probably done it 2 or 3 nights. He's unbelievably popular. But I remember when Cedric, the entertainer, said to me, he's like, you know how it is when you're at the barbershop and everybody's doing this? I'm like, nope. White people go into a barbershop, we just sit there quietly reading a magazine.
I'll take the number 3.
Yes, it's our time. We're listening to really dull music and then we leave. There isn't this celebration that goes on for 5 hours. I also think there's something about being, well, I think suppression leads to comedy and even all art. I think one of the worst things that's happened to gay culture is acceptance. I think in the 70s, they were right on fucking point. They had the best shit ever. And now that they're able to get married, they put out fucking Glee and Modern Family and really bad singers.
Yeah, like I always love the kind of bitchy, kind of evil gay humor. You don't hear too much of that anymore.
It's gone.
It still exists. It's out there.
Well, what about the playwrights? You know what I mean? If you look at our greatest playwrights, they were wicked gay men. Wicked fucking gay men.
That's still very much the case. So most people in theater, solid playwrights, are still like a lot of good gay playwrights out there. But like,
I haven't seen a good one in a long time.
But yeah, I think that those personalities still exist out there, and they tend to kind of revere like the children that came before them, like they tend to go.
I'm shocked by that because I never see gays supporting gay artists at all. Ever. They go out to see every older woman in the world, but if there's a great band with a gay singer, it's straight people there.
Yeah, I guess it depends. I mean, it also depends on taste level. Just like, there are people who are straight who like pop music, and then there are people who like subgenres of music. So like, certainly if you see it in like drag culture, that tends to be.
I'm going to tell you, I go to see Rufus Wainwright, and there's no gay people in the audience, and then fucking Britney Spears comes to town, and they go fucking crazy for her.
Right.
I think that
I'm thinking about Sam Smith.
Right. He's
true. Like a really big gay artist that a lot of gay people go out to.
Yeah,
I never see that. I always see like suburban women.
Yeah.
The suburban girls.
Sam Smith is like a point of pride for them, for sure.
All right.
Well, maybe it's because Britney Spears
speaking out of turn today.
Maybe it's because Britney Spears wears like Elvis jumpsuits, and Rufus doesn't put too much effort into his wardrobe.
So they're only visual. They're only visual. Chris, where are you on this?
I don't pay attention too much to the gay culture.
Oh, I forgot how fucking straight and bush you are. I'm sorry. Where are you going when you leave? You're back down. You're fucking going to the steel mill. Is that it? What do you mean you don't pay any attention to the gay culture?
I feel like I don't watch the drag race shows, and I don't.
Well, that's just like one aspect.
Why are you treating your arms like this? You've turned this into a negative.
He's like, I don't know about these youngsters in there.
You could be part of the daddy culture that the gays have.
You could.
You could be a big daddy.
You could fit into daddy's world.
Even hairless, I could be a daddy.
That is holding you back. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
I mean, you can't be an official bear. That's for sure.
This is all I got. Like this. I mean,
could he be a seal?
Yeah,
or a walrus.
Walrus, I think, is what he would be.
I could be a seal.
A big seal.
Okay. Vito would be a bear. Vito's hairy. He's big.
But he's also more like a Winnie the Pooh bear. He's not like
his head's stuck in a honey jar.
Yeah. I don't think he's the kind of bear. I couldn't see him in leather. Could you?
I mean, I have his leather bands gimmick.
Tom Rhodes sitting in with us today. Yucks next week. The Cellar all weekend.
And go to tomrhodes.net for all additional dates, and on Twitter @_Tom Rhodes.
Now, Tom, what is one of those things that you're doing on the internet right now that you yell out these like facts?
Oh, yeah, knowledge nuggets. I put out these knowledge nugget videos every Friday,
So give us some of the latest.
Drop some knowledge.
Well, one that I'm about to film. I was in Boston last year, and there's this Freedom Tour. I don't know if you've ever been there. It's pretty cool. And there's a guy who's dressed up like an old colonial patriot.
Yes, I have seen that guy.
And they take you around to all these like historical spots for American history, and it is pretty mind blowing. You see. Like where the Boston Tea Party happened, which is the event that led to the American Revolution, which we gained our independence from England, from the Boston Tea Party. And the Boston Tea Party was when a bunch of white men dressed up as Native Americans and boarded someone else's property, an English ship, and destroyed someone else's property, 70 tons of British tea. And that started a long Boston tradition of white people blaming minorities for the crimes that they committed.
Yeah. That's not a bad idea, is to dress up as a minority, regardless of what your crime is.
Another one that Tupac Shakur movie's coming out. I'm a big Tupac fan. And the greatest trip I ever took in my life, I went to Peru. And Tupac Amaru II was the last Inca king, and he was drawn and quartered by the Spanish in the main square of Cuzco, and that's actually who Tupac Shakur is named after.
Didn't know that.
I did
Named him after a guy who was drawn and quartered by the Spanish.
But that's kind of like being named after a saint. If you're named after a saint, which all Catholics are, you're named after somebody who was murdered terribly for their faith. The whole thing of a saint was never
I'm
given.
Thomas.
Yeah.
I'm the, doubting Thomas. He doubted that Jesus came back until Jesus said you could put your finger in my sword hole. So that's what Thomas did. Thomas
I didn't remember. I was
a
like,
sword hole
I
fingerer.
knew there was something that got him. He's like, I doubted it, and now I'm back.
I mean, I've seen it.
Once he put his finger in the sword hole, he believed it.
He left it in there too long, too. He's just like working it.
All right. I didn't say you could wiggle
Jesus
it.
was like, okay, you got to wash your hands first.
Now, what was he thinking? That it was Jesus' twin brother? I mean, at what point? I mean,
but everybody else believed it. But Thomas was like, nah, that ain't him.
That is, to me, he's like one of my favorite, because he's like, I'm not going to leap at this. You know what I mean? Because I'm the same way around David Blaine. I'll yell at David Blaine, that's a trick. You really didn't make that disappear.
He's magical.
Yeah.
Skepticism.
But then, like, after he had his moment of doubt, like, he was welcomed back in. It wasn't like they were pissed
Yeah,
at
they
him,
did
right?
not stay mad at him. No.
All right, that's good.
Only one person they stayed mad at, and that's Judas.
Yeah, they were pretty upset with Judas.
Well, Judas, he needed to play it out. I mean, if you're going to pay attention to the mythology, if you don't have Judas, the story doesn't take place.
Right.
So he doesn't die for our sins. So at some point, we should be like, thank you, Judas, for playing your point. But we don't do that. To me, if you really look at the mythology, if we were to sit around and praise anyone, it should be Adam and Eve. Because without Adam and Eve, there's not even human beings at all. There's just a spirit world. Adam and Eve forced us into the physical world.
And
that they take shit.
Yeah, instead, it's just like Eve is the world's first sinner. And she was, you know.
It's all kind of blamed on women because of that story. But why did God put the tree of knowledge there to tempt them in the first place?
get them to
It's
do
like,
it.
here's a big mound of cocaine, and you can have this. You can hang out at this party, but you can't touch the cocaine.
But see, that would be the exact truth. That by doing that, we proved our independence. We proved that we were worthy of a physical life. But since our religions make this the worst thing of existence, that actually being alive is like the worst part of being a spiritual being.
Right.
We act like this is bad, but we would have nothing for this. Matter of fact, there wouldn't even been a second person besides Adam and Eve. It's not like they were going to start civilization from there. They had to come here to do it. So we should be walking around with necklaces with like little Adam and Eve's on it, you know?
Right.
Maybe an apple with a bite out. It's like, hey, we went and got some for ourselves.
We're people.
Yeah.
Because of them.
Yeah.
But then also, it's like, it's not only that it's like a sin, but it's that, is that even the idea of free will then? Like if they were meant to do that, or like you said, Judas.
Well, he left he left it there until their free will kicked in, right? He left it there. The thing about sin is we take the thing that sin is bad, but there's a point that could be made that sin kicked in reality. It kicked in a physical world. It stopped being this fable. It stopped being a dream. So why are we so hard on sin? That's the weird thing. This is what I like about this show, American Gods. Jesus does not fit into America really at all. We fake and we're like, Jesus wants you to do well at work, but none of that shows up in the Bible. You know what I mean? Jesus doesn't want you to be rich. He doesn't want you to be. Look, Trump had to meet the Pope this morning, right? That had to be the most. Trump lives like an American. You know what I mean? Fame, money, power, cutting corners. The Pope looked at him like, what the
Yeah.
And then turned around and did a joke with his wife about how much fucking dessert is he eating.
Yes.
But she didn't even know what he was talking about.
Yeah.
He was like a specific Slovenian cake that everyone in Slovenia, but she left when she was 12 or whatever.
Yeah.
But the Pope criticized Trump because, you know, he wants to build the wall.
Right.
And the Pope said a Christian wouldn't build a wall. I love the Pope, but I've been to the Vatican and there's a big fucking wall around it.
Right.
That's true.
But that's to keep people in.
They just built a McDonald's in Vatican City, apparently.
Once you go in, Trump stopped on the way out today. He's like, this is fucking crazy.
I gotta get a Big Mac.
Just give me a couple of Big Macs. But yes, it is very true that the Catholics are incredible hypocrites and it doesn't even fucking.
But I grew up Catholic, and I do think Catholic guilt intensifies the pleasure.
There is no. Well, look at any. There's no doubt about what you said completely. That's why people still will find out what taboo thing they could possibly do. It's like having an affair is one thing, but having it with your best friend's wife, suddenly the feeling intensifies. Like, this is unbelievable. And of course, you crash after.
Right.
But that's like any good drug.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's a
Like,
shame.
no one wakes up after fucking a 3-day run on coke and go, that was the best 3 days.
Wow.
Really
I'm
feels
so refreshed.
so good about everything that I did.
The thing is, too, I deserve it. You know what I mean?
I do deserve it.
I deserve having a nice little 3-day run.
So, but back to the Adam and Eve story. Had they never ate from the tree of knowledge, would we be walking around naked and stupid right now?
But there would be no we. There was no sex, right?
Oh.
So there was only them in what was the spirit world. It really wasn't Earth. I mean, you can't walk around talking with animals and not fucking having sex and existing off a rib.
But you're seeing the animals have sex, right? And you're like, wow, what are they doing?
I don't think reality.
That's never talked about.
The physicality did not exist then. It couldn't have been Earth. The way that they're even describing it couldn't have been Earth.
Because don't they even say that labor is supposed to be the punishment of Eve? That the idea of having to go through childbirth, the way that
menstruation,
all that stuff is like the punishment of Eve, is what they call it. So in this idea,
Eve.
yeah, she really fucked shit up for us. So the idea of this, I think, was that all of that happened afterwards. So therefore, there wasn't any.
Yeah, I mean, all you have to do is follow. There were no children.
Yeah.
They didn't have sex. They didn't even know that they were naked.
Right. They had no shame.
They suddenly went, well, which meant we're not animals, we're not spirits, we're human beings. Now, the reality of it is they became cave people and start scratching, in the dirt looking for worms, but no one brings that up either. But there was, if you're really just going by mythology, we owe them for the human race. We owe Adam and Eve for the human race. And yet, we don't take it that way. We're like still trying to get in with God.
Yeah.
But the point was, he didn't have any plans for us at all then.
No, there was
no plan.
There was no plan
for humanity. It took Adam and Eve, and really the fact that Eve, her thing was, And like really in life, when people like a wife like Eve, like you deserve go get some for yourself. It shouldn't be all your boss.
You do it.
You know what I mean? It shouldn't just be him.
Take a bite. You want it? Go ahead.
Now, Chris, I know that you don't like gay things and gay culture. You're immune to. The other day, you said to me, David Bowie, and I'm like, I know that you don't know who he is. God, you wanted to read that thing? Go ahead and read.
I like to plug Tom.
I didn't want to stop you.
Tom Rhodes is in studio. Tom will be performing at Yuck Yucks in Toronto next week, May 31st to the June 4th. Go to tomrhodes.net for all additional dates. On Twitter, it's @_Tom Rhodes, and Tom will be at the Comedy Cellar in the Village Underground in New York City all week long.
I like your new way of delivering where you said to the June 4th.
I heard it. And you know what?
I like the way you just avoided the gay question by giving me a plug for my dates.
You know,
That was
instead,
great.
I could do this.
I think gay people are everything. I think RuPaul and all of our gay society, I think we should just invade the Middle East with American gay culture. Disco balls, roller boogie. When's roller boogie coming back?
It was only a very short period. And if you watch this Hefner thing, there's a Hefner show on Netflix right now. It was about late 75 to early 77 where we were roller boogieing. But the main person in it, Mr. James Caan. James Caan used to just roller skate around Hefner's. He took the tennis nets out. It was just the tennis courts where a roller boogie plays, and it was always James Caan. He was going backwards.
Now, roller boogie's just dancing while roller skating, correct?
Yeah.
That's the idea.
But you have to be wearing really tight, silky shorts.
Yeah.
Specific disco dancing while on roller skates.
Boogieing.
Yeah, sure.
Well, I like that there came a point when someone said disco's not enough. We got to have wheels on it.
Right.
Yeah. You got to roller it a little bit. You know, you got to put on your boogie shoes, as they say. But James Caan was the biggest and only celebrity who had dedicated himself to roller
I wish
boogie.
he still was.
I don't think he's got the knees for it. I had him in here a couple years ago, and we had to lower the chair.
I always love that, like, they keep it up around Central Park, like that one group.
Same spot, same music, too.
Yeah. The same, like, guy with the water bottles on his head.
Yeah, that guy's fucking great. And he goes real slow, though.
Yeah.
Like he's in his own thing and the water bottle's in his head.
He, like,
you could have
slow
seen that guy in
motion does
75. The only chance when I'm walking by there, I'll definitely stop if I hear Back in the New York Groove. That's when I fucking turn it all around and go, you know what? You are right, man. We should be roller boogieing. Well, this is the anniversary of the blackout in 77.
Oh,
where
wow.
this city went bat fucking shit. As soon as the lights went out, every storefront was kicked in, which I get, but I don't know why they also started lighting buildings on fire.
Yeah, that one doesn't seem necessary.
It's a jail mentality. It was almost like what would happen in a jail. That's what happened.
Well, see, that's like the weird thing. Like, you know how I was saying, I don't think it would take a lot for me to just go. If I was just dropped off on a deserted island, I would just go Lord of the Flies like that.
Yeah.
It's just like an entire city.
Well, I think
just decided.
wherever you live, you got to have a plan. I mean, I'm in Los Angeles, and I know in my neighborhood, I mean, I've got it already staked out. If there's an earthquake, which stores I'm looting, you know, you got to have a plan.
Or if
brick through the window.
Yeah,
we were we had an Uber driver. In Los Angeles, my wife and I was telling her about the L.A. riots. I lived in California, and it was an older black driver. And I asked, "Sir, do you live here during the riots?" And the guy looks up in the rearview mirror and he goes, "Greatest day of my life." And he starts recounting what he did. He said, "I drove my truck through this appliance front window." He goes, "And I got 5 big screen TVs. And they weren't like the flat screens like today. Big screen TVs were really heavy." And he got them, and then he went back and he got a refrigerator. And the guy's like telling us this whole story about, and then there was a check cashing store in my neighborhood. And I knew they had a safe with wheels on it. And I thought I could get it. And when I drove there, the owner had the same idea. He was standing there with a gun, but it was like just to see his eyes lit up like a little kid. He was recounting this great day.
That Sublime song just fucking loved that day. Really treated it like it was Christmas. But the last time we had a blackout, which was like 2002, 2003, people just had drum circles and danced. There wasn't any rioting at all, right?
No, it was everyone was shocked how there was the low amount of crime. That was the story.
That's what happens when a studio apartment goes for $3,300 a month.
Right.
You're not going to get as much rioting
or arson.
Yeah, less arson, less rioting. Now, if there was a blackout in Jersey, and we're sure they would riot.
It'd be over.
Yeah, everybody would try to be getting Springsteen stuff. Well, we got to wrap this up today. Tonight, our buddy Mike Vecchione is on The Tonight Show. Make sure that you watch that.
Definitely going to watch.
I saw him run that set twice last night at the Cellar. It's very funny.
Yeah, I saw him do it too, and word. No, he's got it down. He's serious as a fucking heart attack about pulling this off. Anything else we need to plug, Chris?
Jim Jefferies Unmasked with Jim Jefferies is happening next Thursday, June 1st.
That's going to be a ball.
At 12 p.m. at the SiriusXM studios. Go to theinterrobang.com for a chance at free tickets. And Tom will be performing at Yuck Yucks in Toronto next week, May 31st through June 4th. Go to tomrhodes.net for all additional dates, on Twitter at _Tom Rhodes. And Tom will be at the Comedy Cellar and Village Underground in New York City all week long.
Are you doing Montreal this year, or you don't know?
No, I did it last year.
Oh, you don't do it 2 years in a row?
No. And I'll be in Europe. I'll be in Dublin, Ireland that week. Doing the Dublin Festival.
It's good to be home, right?
Yeah, it's great. No, I got a great summer. I'm doing Paris, Amsterdam, Dublin, and then Oslo, and I've never been to Oslo.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You finally found a room that you haven't done yet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Took you a while.
All right, that's it. We'll see you all again in 1974.
Ladies and gentlemen, the evening is over. We hope you all enjoyed yourselves, and we'll see you all again in 1974. Good evening!